Just going to introduce myself. Hello. Thanks for coming to this Steam Festival Summer Edition. I'm really excited to show you guys the game and the demo. I'm Julia Minamata, and I'm the solo indie game dev behind, this way, behind the Crimson Diamond. And it is a text parser mystery adventure game. And it's inspired by, actually, I have some visual aids. It's inspired by adventure games from the late 80s and early 90s, particularly this one. This is my big box of the Colonel's Bequest. And you'll notice it's got a signature on the front. That signature is the artist Douglas Herring, who did the art for the game. And it's a major inspiration for me. And I was lucky enough to meet Doug Herring at PAX West last year at a get-together and get him to sign that. And I got to chat with him a bit too. And that was really cool. So that's kind of how it started. It started as this EGA art palette, which is the kind of art you'll see in the banner and in the game. This very specific set of 16 colors that's super crazy bright. That was the palette that these games were using, and they're the ones that I have the fondest memories of. And alongside, you like Colonel's Bequest too? It's one of your favorites? It's one of my favorites too. Yeah. Okay, so that's that. And yes, and the big box, signed 32-bit kit. So that is that. So when I say solo indie dev, I'm doing the writing, the animating, the background art, the coding, all that. The only thing I'm not doing is the music. And I'm lucky enough to have Dan Policar on the music. Actually, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm just gonna write his name somewhere, maybe, so you can find him. And I'm gonna, hopefully I can, I don't know if I can, I've never really used the Steam broadcast before, so I'm gonna really quickly try to link to his web page here. That is his web page. And Dan he's actually, what's really cool about Dan is he is a big adventure game nerd too, and he's using the Roland MT32 for the music for the game. So when we get started playing the demo, you will hear his beautiful theme music that he has composed for this game. And he bought a genuine Roland MT32, which was the synth that was the gold standard at the time for adventure games. It was $700, I think, retail in $1989. So not a lot of people had it, but it sort of gave you the best music for the time. And so that's what Dan's using to compose the music. And Dan and I, we trade off streams. So I'll do art streams where I show my art process, and Dan will go and show his process for the music. So we kind of bounce it back and forth and to share the development of this whole project. All right, so I'm going to, now that I've done all the beginning stuff, let's get into it. Let's get into the demo. Let's see here. So you can see I finally, I think the latest version of the demo, there is one, of course, on the Steam Store page. There is Mac OS and IBM PC. And I think in the latest version, I still think maybe it says copyright 2018 or 2019 on the bottom. So I don't know. We're not playing off the demo that you guys are downloading. I'm actually playing on my developer working copy, so it's got all the extra bits. I don't think we're gonna get around to me showing any of the extra special bonus bits that are not in the demo, but that's the one I had quickest to hand. All right, so let's get started. So here's the music, and yeah, I mean, if you download it, you'll be able to hear it. You won't hear me talking all over it if you actually get to play the demo. It's a beautiful piece. And the Crimson Diamond is set in about 1914 in Northern Ontario, Canada. So I wanted Dan to give the music a very kind of folk music, a Canadian folk tune type of sound. No love for the PC speaker. Man, I bet Dan would think it would be kind of funny to do a PC speaker version. But yeah, not at the moment. It's funny to think that we'd work backwards and actually do a PC speaker version of it. But not at the moment. Yes. So this is Canada. I'm in Canada. I grew up in Toronto. So this is kind of my thing. It's like near and dear to my heart, this idea, this great northern wilderness and all the rest of it. So what we have here is we have the lodge, kind of like a little small version of it. And the fish that you see in this logo is kind of the introductory sequence that I mentioned that we're not playing today because time, and I actually did a developer commentary run through of the intro in my last art stream. But the fish has to do with the fact that diamonds have been found on near this land. So a fisherman was fishing in a river and found a big diamond in the belly of a fish. Hey, Furoy, thanks for coming to this bonus stream. I usually stream on Tuesdays, which is why I call it a bonus stream. But yeah, so the fish got his belly slit open, and the fisherman found a big diamond, which triggered this huge diamond rush to this land, this fictional town that I called Crimson, Ontario. And it's actually a ghost town. It was a mining town where they mined garnets, and the town kind of died away, and the only thing remaining was this lodge. And so the owner of the lodge is a recluse, and he didn't want anyone messing with his land, looking for stuff on his land, until everywhere else in Crimson had been investigated. And so you play Nancy Maple, who is this is mirrored, so I'm gonna Nancy Maple, you play this lady, this orange lady behind me, who is a rookie mineralogist and a geologist and all that. So she gets sent up on assignment from Toronto, from the Royal Canadian Museum, and you get sent up to investigate if there are diamonds on this land that the recluse has. And you also get to meet a bunch of people along the way, but I'll introduce them all to you. Yes, Darkfall's that. Yeah, the PC speaker music would be funny for about, 20 seconds, and then everyone would turn it off, I'm sure. I love the idea, though. It kind of makes me laugh. Okay. Before we get started, I'm just going to go really quickly. This game is a text parser game, and so which means you'll be typing in commands to make the game work, and I'll show you how that works. But I know that it's not a very common user interface. So what I've done is I've created this tutorial room. And what the tutorial room does is it walks you through step by step some of the most common commands that a player is going to need to know to play a text parser adventure game. And I'm not gonna really do it here, but if the latest version of the demo has it. So if you're ever wondering how to play one of these things, I try to walk people through, as step by step, as easy as I can. Common commands. As a text parser, part of the challenge and the pleasure of playing a text parser game is you kind of have to come up with what you want to do from your mind, from your creativity and your imagination. So these are the most common commands, but it's not necessarily all the commands. Okay, so I'm just going to get out of here, and if you're interested in playing the demo, the tutorial, please do. But to leave the demo, we are going to leave. Okay. Longshot, you love the dithering. I love the dithering too, and that's one of the great advances of the SCI engine for CR. They had this pixel by pixel that gave you this opportunity to do all these beautiful color dithering. You'll see a lot of color dithering in my game too. But let's get started. Hello, Anna. Thank you. I love OBS, and this is something I've been kind of. You saw in the last stream I did with the intro dev commentary stuff. I kind of had this set up, and I kind of played around with it a little bit. But let's get started into the actual demo. So just a quick note about this stuff. I'm not going to play through it all, but this art is much more crude than the stuff that's actually in the game. And so I'm actually going back and I'm upgrading these graphics. This is not the finished graphic stuff. This is just stuff I put together to make it work, and in my head the order of events and all the rest of it. So these are not finished graphics. The actual game has completely finished graphics. So I'm going to just skip through this because you can watch through all that on your own. Hi, Tikangia. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Okay, so this is Chapter 1, and the demo that you find on Steam is Chapter 1 as well. And there are two kind of versions, so don't be confused. It's all the same demo. And the game will be I've got it organized right now to be 7 chapters. And currently I'm working on Chapter 4. I am about 30% through Chapter 4, so progress is going. But a lot of the work of a solo indie dev is promoting, doing stuff like this, which is something I really do enjoy. But of course, it takes time away from doing the actual making of the game. So that's why there's no firm launch date. Let's see. I'm kind of concerned right now because the live broadcast on Steam as I'm watching from my iPad is kind of cycling, and I don't know what that means. Maybe I should refresh it. A little concerning. Oh, okay, good, it's working. Sorry, I'm new to the Steam broadcasting, but I'm thinking that I will continue to broadcast on Twitch and on Steam at the same time, if people are interested in doing that, or interested in having me do it. Okay, so here we have chapter 1. So, understanding that a lot of people won't have played this type of game, even the very beginning of the game, I've kind of built in some tips of how to play the game. So here's our first indication of that. So we have the point and click. Technically, this is a point and click game where you can point and you click where you want to walk, but that's kind of the extent of it. Also, interacting with inventory, but everything else you can do with arrow keys and with the keyboard. And arrow keys to move, yeah. And here's your first order of business in the lodge. You've kind of traveled all day and all night, and you've arrived at the lodge. It's quite far north, and it's going to be dinner time soon. So your first order of business is to introduce yourself to the other guests. Oh, which kind of from a design standpoint as well is helpful, because if you've skipped the introductory sequence and you're just starting the game just from this, which I do understand a lot of people will do, you kind of, as your character Nancy Maple introduces herself to the other characters of the lodge, you kind of get an idea of who you are and what you're there for and what everyone else is like. And I kind of did that, and it's kind of a natural progression, because yeah, you've just gotten here, and what's the thing you do when you first get to a new place is you introduce yourself. Hey Dan, good to see you. I'm glad you can make it. Amberzine, hello. Good to see you too. Yeah, I love the EGA palette. Actually, here's another visual aid that I have. I'm going to just switch real quick to where I can just make sure that I made this EGA bracelet out of Fimo. And what I did was I custom blended Fimo to get the exact colors I wanted. So that's how into it I am. And actually, one more visual aid. I actually got a 3D printed Nancy Maple that I got I ordered from Shapeways. And this is their colored sandstone. Yeah, so I'm into it. Okay. So first order of business, talk to everyone before dinner. Let's do it. Oh, thanks, Longshot. You love the bracelet. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't, yeah, like I said, this is my first time broadcasting with Steam. So yeah, I'm seeing it lock up and everything, and it's kind of a shame. I don't know if it's a problem on my end, because I'm working on a Microsoft Surface Pro 2. So I'm not going to say it's not my fault. I have no idea what the slowdown is or whatever you're experiencing, but I'm hoping, yeah, I mean, if you guys want, if it's too much trouble to watch on the Steam, then please, yeah, go over to the Twitch, because it is, it's working out fine there. And yeah, if you go to my website, if you go to the website that's on the scene here, there's a Twitch icon, you can click on that and that should take you there. If you're having technical difficulties, of course. Okay, moving on. So let's get in here. Here is a quality of life design improvement that I made, that I was inspired by a bunch of games, because a bunch of games do this, and of course Thimbleweed Park, which is another amazing example of a venture game. I'm not going to say mine's an amazing example because it's not finished yet, but it's a notebook to help track your progress and tell you what you need to do. Because I know sometimes when you're playing a game like this, it can be hard to remember what your goal is. So your goal is always going to be mentioned here. Okay, Dan, see you later. Put your kid down. Okay, so here's the notebook. And yes, the introductory sequence that you may have skipped. Nancy Maple, in the tradition of the great adventure game mystery protagonist Laura Bow, has lost her luggage on the train on the way to Crimson. So you only have your coat and hat. And yeah, you don't have any of your other stuff, which will become important later, but that after the demo it'll become important. Okay, so type look into the text parser. Here's a good way. Typing look is a good way to get your bearings. And so here we are. So you can click, as you can see, you can point and click, or I can use arrow keys. This is what I'm doing right now. Okay, so the first thing we can do is we can type look to get our bearings. And that's the first thing you'd probably want to do in any new area that you explore. This is the bedroom you're sharing with Kimmy. Yes, and also because you missed the introductory sequence, we skipped it for time's expediency's sake. But you actually ran into this lady on the train, and she's sitting there at the table writing in her book. Kimmy you met her on the way, and she's a bird watcher, and she came up to Crimson, Ontario to do some bird watching. A pair of twin beds and matching nightstands are set against the east wall. Kimmy has claimed the bed closest to the fireplace, a clever move on her part, as summer nights are still chilly this far north. Oh, thanks, the Renaissance. You like the sweet mountain painting? I think I kind of did that one myself. I don't think it had a visual reference, but I prepped this stream with some of the art references I used in other places, so hopefully I can get that working. To Kanjia, how did I come up with the names? Are they meaningful to me? Kimmy is here. Okay, so when you have a look function, it'll also tell you the names of people in case you have trouble with people's names, remembering people's names. Well, Nancy, of course, Nancy Maple is kind of a mashup of Nancy Drew and Miss Marple with a Canadian twist, is what I like to say. So that's kind of where she's coming from. Kimmy is interesting because she is the name of a relative of mine who did come to Canada a really long time ago, like the early 1900s, as a matter of fact. And Kimmy, we're going to take a look at her. A look at Kimmy. Kimmy Kishiro is a petite Asian lady in her late 30s. She's ruggedly dressed in knickerbockers and sensible shoes. She seems shy and doesn't reveal much about herself. During the train ride, you managed to glean that her family emigrated from Japan in the 1870s. And that kind of, so that's a name of a relative I had back in those times. And yes, my family on my dad's side emigrated to Canada in like the late 1800s, early 1900s, that time period. So that's kind of where Kimmy's coming from. She's kind of a tribute to my family and the heritage that I have in Canada. Kimmy's writing in her sketchbook with a pen. So, I mentioned that you lost your luggage on the way in, so you only, in the intro, had you watched the intro, you have your hat and coat. So we can actually take your hat and coat, if you want, you don't really need to. Look, foot stand, do I call it a foot stand? Oh, nope. Look, bed. Twin beds in this room with matching quilted covers. Your coat is hanging on the footboard of one of the beds. Your hat is hanging on the footboard of one of the beds. So let's take Kimmy's big floppy ears. Is that what it looks like? Yeah, this game is 320 pixels by 200 pixels, so sometimes you're going to have to use your imagination. Take hat. Let's take coat. Alright. Taking coat. I am dropping frames. I'm just looking at my OBS. And I think it might have to do with the fact... Oh, yeah, maybe because all the animation that just happened. And how dark falls. Yeah, sorry, yeah, the Steam broadcast. I'm not sure how that all works. But, yeah, I mean, hopefully wherever you guys can watch it, that is best for you. Okay, so, yeah, so one thing I can do is... there is a prompt. Actually, I'll wait till the prompt happens naturally. But from a developer standpoint, so there's an interesting thing you can do with Kimmy, because it mentions that Kimmy is writing in her sketchbook. So you can ask Kimmy about sketchbook. And here's the thing. So the first thing you have to do to all the characters is to talk to them. And that's what I mentioned about talking to all the people in the lodge. So this is the list of people we need to talk to. So we're going to talk to Kimmy. I've never been to a place like this before. I'm excited to explore, and I love meeting new people. Yeah, that's her hair. That's her hair, the Renaissance. Yes, you are the inquisitive type, aren't you? Jack did invite you to introduce yourself to everyone else, after all. It's only polite. Ask Kimmy about voodoo. Hey, Eden Waith. I mentioned that the Crimson Diamond demo is available on Windows, PC, and Mac OS. And the reason it is available for Mac is because of Eden Waith 17, who did the port for me. And he's done the port for other Adventure Game Studio games, which is really cool. And I'm really grateful for that. And so thank you for coming into the stream, Eden Waith. Yeah, I'm looking at the stats right now. I've got 18.7% dropped frames. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But it's the best I can do in the circumstances, unfortunately. And I'm wondering now if the lag in the Steam has to do with like my setup and not anything else. Yes, even with Kimmy has the 1950s comics black and blue hair coloring. Yeah, I love that hair coloring combination. Okay. No thanks, Nancy. I'm exhausted. That bumpy ride from the train station has left me a bit frazzled. I'm looking forward to some peace and quiet before dinner. Which is code for leave me alone, I guess. Oh, well, there we go. I can take a hint. I'll leave you be. And there was a bit of a chime there, which is to indicate that, you've done a thing. I'm sorry you won't be able to stay at the lodge and see those nesting cormorants. Who knows what tomorrow will bring? I like to live life day by day. And here we go. The notebook will track main objective progress. Yes, intervenes neither downtime. So true. I'm all about the downtime. You can also ask characters about different topics. Oh, Tikanje, so when I stream it on both places at the same time, you have half the quality and double the bitrate. Oh, yeah. That's probably my problem then. Yes, exactly, Longshot. Good catch. If you recall correctly, and you do, Lillian claimed to be plumb frazzled at the beginning of the Colonel's bequest. And I do that sometimes with this game, is I'll put little things like that. Nothing like too crazy in terms of like the Easter egg for Sierra games, but I'll stick them in there, so it's a good catch. So yeah, I'm sorry for anyone who's watching this on the Steam broadcast, the Steam store page. I just, like I said before, I'm using a Microsoft Surface Pro 2, which is like 8 years old, and so that's the weak link here, unfortunately. And I don't know, maybe I'll eventually replace this machine. Okay, so moving on. Try ask Kimmy about birds, or just ask about birds. Okay, so we can see here on the notebook, we have a little X, talk to Kimmy, so we're tracking that. Next. So I can ask Kimmy about birds. I've heard there were nesting cormorants in this region. Nowadays, they're rare. Fishermen kill them because they think the birds eat up all the fish, but it's not true. Poor things. Okay, so that is Kimmy. You can ask her a ton of stuff, and I'm not going to go through all that stuff, but that's the magic of the text parser when it comes to dialogue, is you can ask her about all kinds of stuff. So she mentioned a fisherman. Can we ask about fishermen? And she refers to the intro sequence that we did skip. It's a fascinating story, isn't it? Gutting a fish only to find a diamond inside. The Renaissance, how close am I to finishing the game? So there's 7 chapters, and I'm about 30% finished chapter 4 in terms of development. Yes, exactly. Yeah, Longshot, you got it. Okay. Next. So something that people might not have caught, and I made this cute little animation that I'm going to show because who knows how many people actually got to see it. So it did mention when you look at Kimmy that she is writing in her sketchbook. So if you look at sketchbook, she actually does this cute little animation. You glance at Kimmy's sketchbook and see some written notes and some rough sketches. One of the sketches looks like it could be of a bridge. My sketches aren't very good. I'm too embarrassed to show them. And then what she does is she puts her pen down and she closes the sketchbook. And she leaves it closed. Yeah, the Renaissance. There is on the Steam store page, which I can link to, I think. Let me link to. I'm going to drop a bunch of links in the restream, hopefully. Did that do it? Or no, you know what? I don't think the restream is catching my night. Oh, there. Oh, perfect. Okay, yeah, Nightbot. It just took a bit. Okay, yeah. So there are all the links to all my stuff. Hopefully that doesn't end up just being one huge stream. I mean, one huge link. But there's a bunch of good stuff in there to follow. Okay, and that's in the Twitch stream for people who are watching on the Steam. I'm not doing any outside links too much on that because I'm doing it on my iPad and it's kind of painful. Okay, so here she is. So I don't know. I'd look sketchbook. Oh, good. The Renaissance. Thanks. I'm glad. Kimmy has closed her sketchbook and is waiting for you to go away. So if you walk away from her, she'll actually open back up and start writing again. Yes. Nancy flips through the sketchbook and sees a bunch of Kilroy with here doodles. Oh, honest. That's awesome, Renaissance. Yeah, if you stream it, let me know because I'd love to be in chat and see how it goes. It's also kind of live playtesting for me. Okay, so let's see what else I can talk about here. Okay, so I think that's it we can do here. Although I will say, okay, so I have a lot of furniture in this game, and if the game has furniture and has cupboards and drawers, you can open all the cupboards and drawers. And that's because that's just the thing that bothered me about adventure games a lot of the time. Is if there are cupboards and drawers, I let you open them, even though currently, as it is, most of these cupboards and drawers are empty. But as I develop the game further, I've actually gone back and filled a couple of the cupboards and drawers with certain things. So they are available at the beginning of the game, but they might only be useful at at other stages of the game where I will make them more obvious. You're currently losing your mind with King's Quest III: The Renaissance? Yeah. That one, I keep telling people, that one is, to me, the most stressful adventure game I've ever played. Because that game has that running clock along the top, and it's too much. It's too stressful. Thanks, Anna. Okay, so, we're gonna open up the drawer here. Open drawer. And yeah, I animated it. You can open it. You can look at drawer. Here's another thing about the text parser. Curio cabinet drawer is open. So it tells you that. If you look in drawer or search drawer, the curio drawer is empty, which is the case I mentioned for most of the drawers. Ooh, Dark Falls Exile. KQ3 was your introduction to Sierra games? That is a trial by fire. Pun intended. Okay. Close drawer. And Anna, you've completed King's Quest 3 with only with help. Yeah, I think most people, that's the case with most people. Okay, so let's open this door. And let's actually get out of this room. It's 8:30 and I haven't even left the first room. Oh yeah, Nightbot is going to occasionally throw up the links. He's on a timer, I think every 10 or 15 minutes, so don't worry about him. He's doing his thing. Okay, type H or help to open the help window. There are a list of parser shortcuts to simplify using the parser. Example O space D means open door. Yeah, Renaissance nudges are necessary for King's Quest 3, that game. Okay, so this is an example of trying to make it a bit easier. Sierra games did have shortcuts for parser, commonly used parser stuff. So what we have is, if you type H. Oh, thanks, Renaissance. You like the way it looks so far? Yeah. So here are some parser shortcuts that you can use. I use quite a few of them when I'm testing. Although actually the only one I really use is open cupboard, open door. There are some shortcuts for people's names too. Although I have made it easier to talk to people when there are multiple people in the room. You don't have to address them separately. So I'll show you that when that happens. But yeah, so here's a few helps with that. And here is my first example of a piece of painting that I got reference for. Look at painting. Yeah, Takanji, you're old enough to have played Parser Sierra games when they were coming out. You got Quest of Glory 2 for Christmas one year. I think I'm with you on that. I think I got Quest of Glory 2 for Christmas as well. And Longshot, you say Roberta Williams was really fond, getting completely absorbed in the world of the game, and diligently mapping it out and spending months. Yeah, one of the fun parts is that world building is a heck of a lot of fun, doing all that research. So the masterful oil painting is framed and hung at the end of the upstairs hallway. The plaque reads L. Harris. And so for that one, I'm gonna hopefully this is gonna work. Ah, great. Okay. This is the painting that is what I used as my inspiration for the painting in the end of the hallway. Actually, can you even see it? Am I even? Yeah, you can see me. Okay. Yeah, so this is a Lorne Harris piece, although I think it's a bit later than 1914, but anyway, I'm not going to be bothered about historical accuracy, although I did change one painting because of historical inaccuracy. Oh, eating with your brother and you pulled together your money for QFG2 and bought it from Radio Shack for 45 USD? I love memories like that. I love stuff like that, yeah. And Takanji, the first game you bought yourself was Space Quest 4? Good choice. That's a good one. Okay, moving on. So here's an example of watching people play. The demo has been super, super crazy educational for me. So I've showed this game in a few places. I've showed it at, the first time I showed it was Wordplay 2018 in Toronto. There is at the Toronto Reference Library. That is a narrative game, kind of a narrative game showcase. And so I showed it there first, where I had this demo in a much kind of cruder form. I've shown it at EGLX in Toronto in October 2019. I showed it at Adventure X in London, which is another narrative game showcase, but that one is in London, England, at the British Library. And it's really educational to watch people play the game, because you can see people kind of having trouble in the same places, and so it gives you some insight into what you need to fix or improve to kind of smooth out that game experience. So this is an example. This screen is an example of that. So when I watched people play the demo in front of me at one of these shows, I would watch people. They would go into these rooms and they would explore. These were rooms in this room, but they actually wouldn't know to go down the hallway, which I was kind of surprised by, because it didn't occur to me that people would have difficulty with that, with going down. They didn't think they could. So I actually have changed this particular screen to kind of hopefully encourage people to move down. And one of the things I did was I moved the doorways and everything up higher to give more room at the bottom. Next up, show the game at London, Ontario. You know what? It's funny because I'm in Ontario, and London, Ontario is a town here. So when I told some people that I was showing this game in London, they thought I meant London, Ontario for sure. Yeah. Oh, there's London and Kentucky as well. Okay. So that is that one. I think that's all I have to show in that area. And here is the master bedroom. So I think I can show another. Oh no, wrong place. I can show another example of some visual reference. So I used a lot of interior visual reference for the game, and so this particular piece, this photograph of like a cabin interior, is one of the ones I looked at when I was building this room. There's not really any good place to put it because it's kind of big, but I'm not going to leave it up forever. Okay. So I'm going to close that again. And the fun thing about this room is this is an example of a room where I've gone back and I've put something in one of these drawers. Oh, thanks, Longshot. I like you like the room. I did use a lot of reference in terms of furniture and sort of furnished like textiles and carpets and stuff. In fact, this carpet is based on I don't have the example here with me, but it is a pattern that I saw on the internet too. Oh, right. Look-in drawer. This nightstand drawer is already open. There's a roll of white tape in the nightstand drawer. So this roll of white tape is not useful now, but it's useful like after, in the next chapter, after the demo chapter. It is available right here, but in the stage of the game where you need it, it's actually going to be much more obvious that you need to take it. So this is an example of that. Some games fix that problem by putting half an item on the screen edge to hint that it continues. Yeah, that's a good point. Like half a table peeking out. Good. Yeah, I might try to do that in the hallway screen, just to give people that visual aid to know that there is a continuation of the room. That's a good one. Close drawer. And here's another fun Easter egg that I've put in here. So the picture on the fireplace here, that is a poster that I recreated in pixel art, super small, but I can't find it. I looked for it last night and I couldn't find it. Open wardrobe. This is something everyone seems to try to do. So I added it as a fun little thing. Into your wardrobe. Please insert disc number 2 to continue. Read error, region not loaded. So, there is that. Here's another example of a change I made to this after watching people play it. Is before I didn't have these doors do this, like where they become solid and they become an outline. That's because people didn't realize that they could walk into these next areas. So that's kind of why I did that. I think, were they always... I don't remember even what it looked like anymore previously. Oh, one more fun thing that you can do in a lot of the rooms. Dark Ball's expecting a Monkey Island reference. Yeah, I didn't want to spend the time to get into all that part. I do love that. I think the EGA version of the Secret of Monkey Island might be one of my favorite adventure game. EGA adventure game to play, because Colonel's Bequest, I love it and it's beautiful, but it is not forgiving. I put this into my game because I feel like you should be able to sit with all this nice furniture around, most of the rooms in the lodge you can sit down in. So let's see, open door. Okay. So here's one of the many bathrooms in this game. When I designed the game, I designed it as a sort of a house first and a game second. So the reason there are so many bathrooms is because I figured in a place this size there would be that many bathrooms, and not because they actually have a functional game reason. And I programmed in a bunch of non-essential, at least for now. I mean, maybe I'll come up with a reason for them to exist in the game. Non-essential animations like flush. Wash your hand. Oh yeah, this is a fun little. People really love the mirror thing, and I do too, and that's why I put it in the game. Francisco Gonzalez, who is the head and the solo indie dev of Grundislav Games, who made Lamplight City and A Golden Wake, he showed me how to do this. And I'm telling you, I won't say it's more trouble than it was worth, but it was a lot of trouble to get this to work. And not because of the actual, just the code he gave me was great, but I had to modify it because, this is a bit technical, but there are some blocking animations Nancy will do, and so I had to figure out a workaround for her to do those animations and still be reflected into that mirror. And sometimes I completely fake it. You know, at the quest when Nancy needs to collect every towel in the hotel. Yeah, I don't let you take the towels. As fluffy and blue as the towels are, removing them from the bathroom would be most inconsiderate. Oh, you know what? Did I even... Oh, I did tweet that I was live. Okay. Pretty sure. Let me just double check that, because... Oops, if I didn't. Okay. Did I say that I was live? Oh my gosh. Sorry. Okay, good. Whew, okay. Yes. Oh, hi. Hagane Kage. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. My Japanese is not that great. I'm learning still. Okay. Yes, Hagane Kage. This is using Adventure Game Studio, which is the same engine that Francisco uses for Lamplight City. Wajidai uses for Unavowed and the rest of his games, the Blackwell games. Yeah, so this is Adventure Game Studio. Let's see. Okay, and to Kenji, you remember Sierra interview talking about putting the mirror in the King's Quest game, King's Quest 4, was considered a technical marvel. That mirror, I think they have it also in King's Quest 3. I'm pretty sure they do. Okay. Yeah, Lamplight City is pretty great, I gotta say. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And props for another solo indie game dev. Like Francisco's amazing. Like I met him at a few events, and we won an adventure game panel at PAX East just this last February. Yeah, super good guy. Okay, and yeah, so here's an example. There's a blocking animation where you can make Nancy wash her hands, and so I faked it, and I had to redo it a few times because it just wasn't working properly. Because, you should be able to wash your hands, right? In a game. And all the stuff with the sound of the water going on and off and all that. Yes, EK, don't shower. I'm going to show that, actually. I'll save the game before I do. Yeah, Longshot. This is, it's a solo developed game. It's been a really, I had to learn a lot for it. One of the things I've had to learn is how to do live streams. Although, yeah, I apologize for the lagginess of the Steam broadcast. Retro Rants. Hi. Oh my gosh, thanks for coming. That's awesome. Yeah, this is, welcome to the bonus Thursday stream where I play through the demo, although it's been 42 minutes and I have not even gone through 3 rooms. Oh yeah, anyway, this isn't the Bates Motel. Showering is perfectly safe, I bet. And you know what? You can only shower in one of the rooms. You can try it, but this is actually an ensuite bathroom to Margot and Evan, 2 of the characters. So that would kind of be a little bit rude taking a shower in the ensuite bathroom of the master bedroom. So you're not allowed to do that here. Yes, Longshot. It's amazing how low the barrier of entry in game development has become. Yeah, literally anyone can learn how to make their game now with free or low-cost tools. Yeah, like Adventure Game Studio is free. You can release something commercially, and it's free, and it's there's been no better time. I mean, of course we can see that because thousands of games are being produced every year. Oh, I'm glad, Retro Wrench, you love the characters in the game. I love the characters in the game too. I one thing about the being a solo indie game dev is I get to call the shots on all this stuff, and I get to do exactly what I want, and I don't have to worry about what anyone else has to say. Although, when people do give me feedback about the game, I do really take it into consideration because I want people to enjoy the game. I want this game to be enjoyable by the broadest range of people. Although I do understand that it's a text parser game, and that's a big ask. Okay. Open door. Right. And here we get to meet another one of the characters. So let's take a look. The boudoir transports you to fin de siècle Paris, which is sort of like end of the century, turn of the century Paris, which refers to not this past century, but the 1900s. It's, well, turn of the 1800s to 1900s. It's shiny, opulent, perhaps slightly tacky, and very, very pink. A mirrored vanity is the focal point of the room. Exotic perfumes hover in intensely localized clouds that you can almost see. Every movement stirs air currents that bring new scents to your nose. A powder compact is on the vanity. You see a pretty blonde woman in a fashionable dress. And here she is furiously powdering her face. Oh, that's another thing. So I've got Nancy working at the highest speed. She's on super turbo mode because that's how I play it and that's how I test it. Oops. But yeah, there are sliders so you can adjust the speed to something less turbo. Yeah, Dan's always telling me to slow down, and I can't help myself. So that's why also the animations are kind of just faster than they should be. It's only on that one cheek. I actually had a lot of fun programming the animations to be stuff that you could just loop forever and it wouldn't look. It's of course going to look too weird because it's forever, but not something that wouldn't realistically or potentially possibly happen. Let's have a seat. Let's admire this really nice poster. This is a Toulouse-Lautrec poster. And yes, Nightbot now lets people shout. Although, yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at this poster. And actually, I put the poster up in my little slide show. Oops. Don't want to move that one. This one. Okay. Here it is. But I also have it in this Toulouse-Lautrec book that I have. So here it is. Here we go. In pixel form. Yes, Nancy's training for a 100-meter dash. Okay, so that is that poster. I'm going to stand her back up again. I'm just going to check my notes for stuff to mention about this room. Yeah, so there is a powder compact on the table. So, let us look at Margot. A slim blonde woman says, oh, you know what? We have to talk to her before we even know her name. So, well, it's funny because you can talk to Margot and it'll say who it is, but you can talk to woman if you want as well. Hello there, it's nice to meet you. My name's Nancy Maple. A pleasure to meet you, mademoiselle. I am Margot. Welcome to Crimson Lodge. How long will you be staying with us? I'm only here tonight, unfortunately. I was sent here by the Royal Canadian Museum on assignment. But Jack says I'm due to leave on the train tomorrow, according to Mr. Richard's wishes. I see. I'm sorry we won't get to know each other better. Crimson Lodge is a lovely place. I was a city girl for a time, but those days are behind me. So if you look now, it'll tell you that Margot is here. And that's a little thing that Francisco, when he played through one of the builds, he recommended that I do. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense to do that. So we can ask about city. And like I said, there's a ton of things you can ask people about in text parser, if you pay attention to what they're saying. Mr. Richards tells me that Crimson was once a booming mining town. I would have loved to see it in its glory days. And if this diamond news is true, perhaps it will boom once again. You can ask about other characters. Ask about release date, Dan? Yeah. Ask about Richards. Mon cher, we met in Crimson a couple years ago. I was terribly lost, and it was so late in the evening. No more trains were running that night, so he invited me to stay at the lodge, and I have not left since then. And of course, there are other characters that you can talk to or ask about, but you know, I'll leave that to when you play the demo. So that is Margot. And yet, oh, you can ask her about powder. Powder is good for ridding oneself of a shiny complexion. Soaks the oils right up. I know all about that. My skin is pretty oily. Margot eyes you critically. You could probably use some, mademoiselle. And here's something you can do. And as I mentioned, there's some items that are obtainable now, but you won't need them until later. But you can ask for powder. Or you can ask, there's a few ways you can do this. You can ask for powder, you can take the powder, which would make Nancy also ask for it, but ask for powder. Rude. Yeah, long shot. Yeah, it's a bit of a, it's a slight bit of, you know, might be unintentional rudeness. May I steal a touch of powder to help me freshen up for dinner? Your nose is definitely looking a little shiny. You could use un petit peu of powder before dinner. There we go. Thank you. It is nearly empty and I have another. Please use it for as long as you are here. Okay, so, and that is that. That's for the most part this room. Here's this room, which has another mirror in it, and this, you know, these things are all have some descriptions, and it's not really necessary right now. We can sit in it, of course. You don't think Nancy would be asking about that? Take a seat. You can stand. Let's get out of here. And anything else I want to talk about with this room? I think that's it. Onwards. Yeah, let's go. Okay, so, you want to look behind that mirror? Yeah, eating weight. And here's some more baked in sort of prompts to sort of help people play through the game. Press escape or main menu. For main menu, you can also save and load the game. So we've already kind of done those things. But again, if people have skipped everything and are just getting into the game, this is just, for me, if you proceed down this hallway the first time, it does give you some guide step by step. Alright, next. Let's go in this door. OD, open door. And here's the thing you might notice too, when these doors are open, you walk down the hall and they're open in the distance, which is another one of those things where there are no doors in the plantation house in Colonel's Bequest, so this is not an issue for them, but I wanted doors in my house because I like doors in houses, and I wanted my house to have doors, which created the issue of making the doors close and open in the background, which is something I had to do too. Next. Oh no. Why'd she do that? I have no idea why she just closed the door on her own. I just told you I like doors, so maybe that's that. Yeah, so here's another room. There's not much to say about this room, although there's this big window here that is kind of showing the moonlight come in. Yeah, long shot. Yeah, it's funny about, I like to walk through that Colonel's Bequest because it's so pretty. I kind of always have it to hand, and I'll just walk around in the rooms and just tour the house because there's so much to see, and I learn something new every time. And yeah, there are no doors. It's kind of weird. Okay, so this is, so there are day and night cycles in the Crimson Diamond. And so what happens is in the demo, you're only here for the night, and so you don't get to see the day. But chapter 2 begins in the daytime, and so what you'll get the sunlight, and so the quality of this, the lighting coming through this window will be different. You can sit. Guess we can sit. Okay. Open door. I don't know why. I don't know why she closed it when she went in there. It's very strange. Okay, type I or in to open the inventory window. You can look and examine your inventory in this window. So yeah, there is a graphical inventory, which we have here, and this style of graphical inventory was not really present in EGA adventure games, but now with the benefit of the technology we have, there's no reason why there can't be actual graphical inventory, and I just like the way they look, the little icons. So here is the eyeball, so this is the basic looking at your inventory command. Your lucky mineralogist loop, engraved with your name and attached to a handy lanyard. Great for getting a closer look at things. And here is newspaper. which you can look at. You can also examine it closely and see the minute dots on the photograph, on the newspaper photo. Okay, so it gives you an example. So when you start the game, you start with the loop and the newspaper. And so when you start the game, you haven't picked up anything. You have something in inventory, and you can look at and examine. You can learn how to do those things very early on. Yeah, long shot. I honestly do agree with you. Like, the point and click inventory was way more convenient. So we have this loop where we can actually look at some things, not all things. But, here's your green felt hat. Get a closer look at it. Your hat looks pretty good considering you got it secondhand. And, but the only thing is, Amiga Bill. Oh my gosh. Thank you for coming. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Amiga Bill is an awesome Twitch streamer. He streams, exactly what his name says. He streams Amiga games, and it is amazing. I never had an Amiga. Actually, can we? I'm in the Twitch. I'm gonna just go to his channel because I just wanna link to him, Amiga Bill, because I love to watch Amiga Bill. He's like a super pro. He has all his cameras and everything. He's got a VHS and everything, cameras, and I've never played Amiga games before, so it's really cool for me and it's so educational to watch him play through Amiga games. He just recently played the Turrican games, 1, 2, and 3, and it was awesome because the musician who did the music for the Turrican games came up in his chat, and it was so cool to see him there. Oh, thanks, Amiga Bill. Yeah, Dan Policar is back. I guess he's finished putting his little one to bed. Dan is the musician for the Crimson Diamond, who is using the Roland MT32 for music, which there isn't a lot in the game right now, but there will be more, and hopefully I'll get to the stage of the game where there is the second piece of original music that Dan composed. Oh yeah, so I was mentioning with the inventory, so you can do two things in this inventory. You can look at things and you can examine, but you can't do any other inventory interactions. So, for instance, you can read the newspaper that's in your inventory. Newspaper has one word. And here's another example of the plot synopsis if you skipped the intro and all that. So it just basically gives you a very quick, the article goes on to describe how a few months ago, fisherman Doug Bowe, which again is a tribute to Doug Herring, who did the art for this, and Laura Bowe, the protagonist for The Colonel's Bequest, caught a lake herring. Douglas Herring is the artist name, and lake herrings you can actually find in Lake Superior, which is the sort of vague geographic area I set Crimson, Ontario in. Okay, so, up in the northern wilderness near Crimson, Ontario, he was shocked to find a huge natural diamond in its belly. This astounding discovery triggered a rush of prospectors to the region and the rivers surrounding it. The only unexamined area is the land and lodge owned by reclusive Evan Richards, who declined to comment for this story. The Canadian government has dispatched an expert mineralogist from Antwerp, Belgium, to investigate. Crimson, Ontario, once home to thriving garnet mines, has been a ghost town for decades. What a boon this could be. So that's your very abbreviated version of the introductory sequence that you can play when you start a new game. There's one more fun thing you can do with the newspaper is you can open newspaper. The newspaper reads, "Thank you so much for coming to my Steam Game Festival Summer Edition stream." So thank you guys. I really appreciate this. It's always fun to come and chat and hang out. And I'm hoping that I've got some new people here. I do have some new people, I know that. So thank you guys. Thank you new folks too for coming and watching. Yes, thank you and welcome. Yes, thank you and welcome. Okay, next. Some of these rooms, this room. Here's another room where the sunlight coming in is going to be really nice. Welcome new people, yes. And here are a lot of, cupboards they're all empty. Open drawers. You just, ransack the place, but there's nothing in these yet. Maybe later. Just open drawers. Oh, what? Open painted drawer specifically. Now that should have worked. This, I'm like testing my game again, which is another. Oh, thanks Amiga Bill, I appreciate it. Yeah, you guys watch Amiga Bill streams. There's, I mean, I'm seeing beautiful old games that I've never played before, so it's super educational. Yes, Crimson is being threatened by a serial cabinet opener. Yes, Crimson used to be such a nice organized town. Open, can this one work? Yeah, that one works, okay. And I watched one person at Adventure X play this, and they were the only person I've ever seen actually go back and close methodically everything that they opened. Amiga Bill had David John Pleasance on. I was thinking of that actor in The Exorcist, but that's clearly not the same person. Donald Pleasance is who I'm thinking of. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this room, I don't think I put any real notes for this room. There's no paintings in it. Closes everything. Yeah, there should just be a close everything parser where she just whips around and closes everything. Doesn't exist. You can't use everything in this game. Lost Look, hello, hello. Oh, head of Commodore UK, amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I had a Commodore VIC-20 when I was a kid. And I had one of those books of the code that you could transcribe command for command to try to make games. And I never ever made one work because I think I was 6 or 7 at the time. But not for a want of trying. Hello, Lost Look. Thanks for popping in. Next. Commodore Brandt. Hello. Oh, okay. Ah, like the president of Commodore. Thanks for coming in here. Yeah, Nightbot dropped the links. So just briefly, this demo is on Steam and on itch.io and direct from my site for Windows and Mac. This broadcast will be available on YouTube eventually when I'll get around to uploading it. And yeah, there's my Twitter and everything else. So yeah, if you come in just now and want to see the whole thing, don't worry about it. I will be posting the whole thing on my YouTube channel, which is the link is right there. So let's see what we have. So this is another example of an animation I made where, yeah, it's going to loop as long as you stand here, or you could sit and watch him. You can just sit and watch Albert. Non-standard deviation, hello. Have I considered putting any secret rooms or Easter eggs that are not essential to finish the game? Funny you should ask that, because there are in fact, well, there actually, I mentioned earlier that there are actually a lot of rooms in this game that are not essential to finishing the game. Which, like the bathrooms, quite a few of the bathrooms. And speaking of Easter eggs, there's an Easter egg in the bathroom that I will be showing pretty soon. But yeah, this is Albert unpacking an infinite supply of white shirts. Such a fun thing. Okay, let's look. Thank you, Commodore Brandt. I actually, for animation, I've recently started using Sprite. This was not made in Sprite. This was made in Photoshop CS2 with layers that I just imported. I saved them as separate GIFs and GIFs, and then I just implemented them into Adventure Game Studio. But now I'm using Sprite, and I will say Sprite is great for animation because it's got that timeline, like a flash timeline. So I've been finding it's pretty flexible for that. Okay, so let's look. Let's look at Albert. This small bedroom, humbly furnished, Albert insisted on getting a room to himself despite its size. The furniture in this room is of simpler make, consists of wardrobe, desk, and nightstand. Yes, Albert has Mary Poppins' bottomless bag of infinite white shirts. Albert is here. So this lodge that you're in right now as the player, you are in Crimson Lodge, which used to be an inn in a booming mining town. So this room, I would imagine, it probably wouldn't have been for guests necessarily. It might have been for maybe a maid or a housekeeper or something. Yes, Lost Look. Did I just say both GIF and GIF to avoid trouble? That's illegal. I have to make a decision. I have to take a stand. Graphic interface format? What is? I don't even know what it stands for. I'll just refer to it in the long name for it. Look me. Oh, I have to talk to Albert. That's right, to get to the next stage. Hello, Mr. Respa. How are you settling in? Please, miss, I'm busy at the moment and can't chat. Counts. You talk to him, it does count. Mr. Respa is unpacking his things and doesn't want to chat right now. But if you check your notebook, we have him down. and you already kind of know him because if you play through the intro or you watch the intro, you get to know what his deal is. Graphic interface format or something by CompuServe. Perfect. I will refer to it as graphic interface format to avoid any controversy. Okay. Yeah, so Albert is, he was sent by the federal government to Crimson, Ontario to investigate the potential diamond claim, and he is from Belgium, which is, Antwerp, Belgium is or was the diamond capital of Europe. Oh, graphic interchange format for, alright. Graphic interchange format from now on. Okay. Kisai Tenchi, good to see you. Yes, graphics interchange format. So yeah, Albert is from, he was sent by Antwerp, Belgium, and he's called in my code, and I don't know if I refer to him in the game as such, as the Belgian. And the Belgian, look at his books eating away, eh? Yeah, good one, good catch. You still have your CompuServe introduction package? Oh, I probably have an AOL CD lying around somewhere. You remember your login and password? I still remember what my my first email address was. It was alita2 at AOL.com. And it totally doesn't work anymore, so don't try to contact me there. But yeah, about Albert. Yes, Belgium, Antwerp. He's referred to sometimes as the Belgian because he actually looks quite a bit like another famous Belgian from... Oh yes, look, Albert. Another famous Belgian from some mystery books. Albert Respa is a stately, well-groomed gentleman in his 50s. Jean-Claude Van Damme eating weight? Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, really? That was your email address? Fantastic. Yes, Perot. Hercule, I can't even pronounce it properly. I would call him, when I was a kid, I'd call him Hercules. Hercules Perot, because I was a big Greek mythology kid. Hercule. I know in the Kenneth Branagh movie, he is referred to as Hercule per Poirot. Yeah, so he's kind of looking like Poirot. His monocle gives him an elegant air. Antwerp sent him as an expert mineralogist to verify the diamond claim in Crimson. You have a hard time imagining him doing field work. Last look, you love his portrait. I love doing the portraits, I gotta say. Let us look at it. Edenwaith says we should look at his books, so let's look at his books. Yeah, as long as you call him Hercules. Because, of course, I mean, you're a kid. Hercules Poirot. That's pretty heroic of a name. Yes, the new Murder on the Orient Express. I did watch that, and it was alright, but I liked it because, you get that ensemble type of cast. Oh, Amigo Bell, AOL CompuServe had local numbers for you? I don't remember. I think we had a local number, too. The geology and mineralogy books look as good as new. Respa's anagram for parse. Very clever. I can't say that I made Respa's name to be an anagram of parse. I wish I had. Read books. The titles are in German, so you can't read them, but from the pictures on the cover, you surmise they are about minerals. Which, you know what? Speaking of visual aids, I have another visual aid. One of my books on minerals. Did I write the story for the game first? Amiga Bill asks. That's actually a good question because I actually started with the artwork first. Used to have a subscription to the Mineral of the Month Club to Kangia. That's awesome. I wish I was a part of that club. But yeah, so I went to school for illustration. So I was a freelance illustrator for 10 years. And when I learned how to make pixel art, I just started to make pixel art rooms. The first room that I made is not in the game. But the second room that I made is the kitchen, which is in the game. And I just started making rooms, and that's why there are rooms in the lodge that have no functional purpose in the game, but in terms of a floor plan for a lodge in a place where you would have people staying in an inn, it makes sense to have them, and that's why there are all these cupboards and drawers that open and close for no reason. Well, no reason now, but hopefully I will be putting more stuff in them. Geology rocks to Kangia. I get you. In fact, I've got something I want to show after I quickly tell the rest of the story. But yeah, so I started with the art and just building rooms and building a house. Like it was like almost like a little interactive dollhouse for me, where I created this character to walk around in this house with these rooms, building stuff and building stuff and building stuff. And so when I decided I wanted to, make a story, little story ideas were kind of coming up in my head as I was building. And so I started to, from the location they had built, I started to write, and I started to come up with other characters, and why would there be this huge lodge in the middle of the wilderness and all that. And so I started to do research about Canadian history and, in places like this, and ghost towns. Tom, thanks for coming, Tom. Tom is another Adventure Game Studio solo game dev. He did Feria Darls, which Eden Waith, who was also in chat, did the Mac port for. Yeah, Amiga Bill. I'm definitely a visual person. Like, the art and the palette were number one, were first for me. And yeah, so here's another book. I'm gonna just make Ontario's Ghost Town Heritage, which is a great book. You can see I've got lots of bookmarks in here. And so with this is great because it kind of goes into that history of a lot of those ghost towns and how they started, how they ended it, and why they ended, and all that. And so I got a lot of great information about, specific to Ontario, ghost towns. And so Crimson Ontario is built a lot around the information that I found there. Okay. Yeah, back and forth. Yeah, it'd be funny. Wouldn't it be funny, Commodore Brain, if I went into this door and I came out the door in the back or something? Yeah, either way, I'm sure you could find, like, I love Ghost Town. Like, there's tons of, like, even if it's not a book, but maybe on the internet. Longshot, you heard about this game from Pushing Up Rose's YouTube video? Oh, awesome. Yeah, that blew me away, because I've been a fan of Pushing Up Roses for a really long time. So when I saw that she did that, it was just the craziest thing I'd ever seen. This is here's another example of a room that has no game function yet, although it's funny because as I'm developing more of the game, I'm coming up with reasons why these places exist. Like, I actually have an idea for this room. A couple ideas, actually, to make it Scooby-Doo room keys I tension, yeah. To make this have a reason, but at the moment it just never, when I built it, I never really had a reason for any of this stuff. Okay. Can you sit in it? Oh, I'm gonna try. You don't really want to sit down in the dusty closet. Yeah, those chairs haven't been sat in for a while. Is there a dead person in the steamer trunk eating with? I'm not gonna comment on that, but because no spoilers. But I don't know. Who knows? Let's see. Yeah, here's another change. Like, people didn't realize you can go outside on the balcony. So let's get into another one of the many bathrooms in this house. And I'm actually really proud of this room, and this is one of the rooms that has the most, probably the most programming in it, because there's a separate walking sprite in this room that you can't see yet. Oh yeah, and here is another example of some of the art. This is the poster by Alphonse Mucha, it's a tobacco ad from Art Nouveau times. And so I put it in this bathroom because I think it's really pretty. Yeah, eating with. A lot of people missed on the balcony, and there's nothing important out there right now, but also I don't know if there's going to be anything important out there, but the style of lodge that I was designing has balconies like that, so that's why it's there. Again, another reason why visually I started with something and then I designed the game around it. Eating with, I'd love to know how King's Quest 3 does that mirror reflection. Yeah, Longshot, I love this poster. It's just gorgeous. The purple and the yellow. So yeah, that's why you can even see a bit of the lettering. I tried to stick the lettering in there. Okay, so onward. So this room is just, there's a lot going on here. Well, first of all, like in the other bathroom, you can flush the toilet. You can wash your hands with, the mirror. This is a fake mirror animation because I couldn't get the timing right. So this is, as long as it looks right, it looks right. Anyway, so much fancy tobacco advertising back in the day. So much fancy advertising for everything back in the day. I love those posters. Okay, so something I really love about this is the Easter egg room. So if you watch the trailer on Steam, you can see one of the deaths in the game. And something I wanted to make sure of for my game was I didn't want it to be easy to die in this game. I wanted people to work for it, and so it is true for this. Yeah, Mika Bill, I just drew it in Photoshop at that size. It's actually one of my hobbies to do like EGA low resolution versions of stuff. In fact, I'm gonna quickly, just as an aside, show a few examples of that. So one of the first ones I did. Okay, is that okay? Is the okay? Here's the audio. Is the audio back? Am I back? Am I? I'll have to wait for the delay to catch up. Okay, good. Sorry about that. Yeah. So really quickly, yeah. So Yahtzee Croshaw used to make adventure game studio games. He'd make point-and-click adventure games. Chizo Mythos was his series, and he made a text parser game too called Trilby's Notes. And so when he came out with The Consuming Shadow, which is one of his few commercial releases, I bought it and I played it. I really liked it, and so that's why I made these EGA versions of the art. So I did this quite a while back. So I've been doing EGA demakes for a long time. Another recent uh, okay, sorry. Yes, I did it again. Okay, I promise the next one will be better. Yeah, I wasn't really planning on showing these, but I just wanted to show out. I do really love the EGA palette. I love dithering. I love low res stuff. Um, so yeah, so this is something I did too. And you know what? We're just gonna get through all of them, and then I'll go back to the demo real quick. But I gotta add the audio input for the next one too. Okay. All right. We learned. So here's another one. There was a Twitter Sailor Moon redrawn um, piece that was going around Twitter, so I couldn't resist because I loved Sailor Moon back in the day. All thanks, Amigo Bill. I appreciate it. You like the EGA stuff. I love Sailor Moon. I love EGA. Couldn't resist doing a Sailor Moon redrawn. So that was another example of the piece that I did. So yeah, my love for the EGA runs deep, as you can see from this and the bracelet that I made. One more, and then we're gonna go back to the demo. And I have to add audio input again. So this is one I actually did on stream. There's like a 4-hour stream where I did this one. Kentucky Route Zero. It was a user request on Twitter, and I love the cleanness of the graphics and just this in terms of the scale. Yeah, CRT would be awesome. I unfortunately don't have any CRTs, but I love the scale, like the giant horse head, and then you get these tiny little pixel people. But yeah, so sometimes when I've been streaming, I've been doing pixel art demakes. Sometimes I do game dev art stuff. But yeah, there's something about this palette that it just forces you to make decisions. That I just it's my thing. It's my jam. Okay, going back to if I can find it now. Great. Oh yeah, I was going to show off this fun thing where you can remove clothes. And don't worry, there's no like adult rating here. It will black out the screen. And now we have Nancy in a towel. And if you go to her inventory, she's not wearing it. You know, she doesn't have any of your inventory items. Because you can take a shower in this room. Oh, Migo, Bill, you love the Twilight palette and how I enhance the headlights on the truck to highlight the person. Yeah, I love doing those little tricks in the EGA on low res. It just to create effects that you have to kind of be a real problem solver. So you can't leave this room in this towel. Nancy won't let you because you would never dream of roaming the lodge in nothing but a towel, which I think is pretty consistent with just about anybody. But did I let you flush the toilet? Yep. I animated opening these cupboards in the towel. It's completely separate animation because that's me. I can't help myself. But that's not what this room is about. I'm gonna save this room. I'm gonna save shower time. And you know, I don't necessarily consider this a puzzle because you don't need to do this in the game, but you can take a shower. You can turn on water. Turn on the water. So against the EK in the stream broadcast chat, you can turn on the shower. You can. Makes you want to play a more feminine version of Leisure Suit Larry Lost Look. I think that would be a cool game. You can pull this valve. Just living in the lodge trying to seduce everyone. Okay, so here we go. This is the thing. So this is not really a puzzle, and this death is easily avoidable if you think like you would think in real life. But let's get in. Get in bathtub. You know. And again, this is all stuff I programmed for no reason. Sorry, this is loud. Yeah, that was really loud. I don't think I volume controlled for that. Sorry. But, yeah, this is something, I went through the whole trouble of doing this because at the time I built it, I wasn't really thinking about doing this full time. You weren't looking, yeah, eating with the puns. That's half the fun of the game, right? Yeah, so when I was developing this game as a hobby project, I was just building this stuff, not thinking about actually like timelines and like trying to finish the game. For who's the killer? That would be telling. Okay, so let's restore the game. And so this is not really a puzzle, right? Did she forget to lock the door, Kisai Tenchi? Exactly, right? Because, I don't know, when I take a shower, especially if it's in a place I don't know, I'm going to lock the door. Oh, wait, lock door. Lock door. There we go. Okay. You can do this in different order. You can pull the valve first if you want. You can twist tap. I tried to make the text parser as flexible as possible. So you can do these and you can try these in a bunch of different ways. Oh, pull valve didn't work. Push valve. Pull valve. Okay. And get in bathtub. She automatically shuts the door, Kisai Tenchi, if you jump in the shower? Yeah, I could have done that, I guess. Yeah. I know, you take a shower. It's pretty nice. Did you hear someone try to open the bathroom door? Probably just the sound of the plumbing. Ah, that was refreshing. Oh la la. Decanter, yeah. Okay. So we can turn off water. Okay. Get out tub. Okay. Alright. Well, fewer dropped frames now. 8.5%. Is that good? I don't know. Okay. Dress. Dress? Okay, yeah. Great. And got your inventory back. Nice. All good. So there's that room. Door is currently locked. Do you see that? I just tried to open the door. Of course you can't open a locked door. Okay. Open door. This room has another piece of art. It's also got wallpaper, and I do want to add more whoa, I keep pressing the wrong thing in the wrong place. It's this piece. It's another beautiful Art Nouveau. Add. This one's for absinthe. And yeah, I don't know, I just like it. I love it. I love the green in the green room. Onward. Anything else for that room? Like I said, I made notes. I'm always about the notes. Room. Yes. Okay. She's in a sheer robe. Actually, if you look at the poster, it'll tell you. The Art Nouveau poster is an advertisement for absinthe, featuring an auburn-haired woman in a sheer robe. Okay. Next. So yeah, there is a balcony here. And then this is the way the nighttime looks. You can't go out at night right now, but you can see it. Tikanjia, can you zoom in or see the original art pieces when you look at the paintings in the finished game? No. I probably won't do that in case people are concerned about, I don't know, copyright issues or something. I feel like at the size that it is currently, it's fairly innocuous. Oh yeah, if you try to leave the lodge, she'll say that it's dark outside and there's no need to go out that way. That'll change after the demo. You can definitely go outside and the other parts. Okay, now we are at the... Oh, you can see the... Oh, I hear voices near this doorway. I wonder what they're talking about. And this is one of one of your main ways to gather information. Besides talking to people directly, it's nice to listen in on conversations and actually see what people are talking about and who they talk about and all that. So... you assume they were old enough not to be copyrighted anymore. Yeah, you're probably right. Wonder. Maybe maybe the Group of Seven is something from like the 1920s or something potentially. Anyway, you're probably right. The people are probably talking about the sinful vices of tobacco and absinthe. Okay, let's listen in. So this piece of music is another piece that Dan composed. It's an eavesdropping tune. And we're still working on this one, but I like what we have right now. But I feel like it's a bit creepy, a bit scary, especially at this part of the game. It's you just are getting started. Oh yes, this is the room with the Jordan almond. So when we actually get into this room, we'll see what that's all about. Yeah, Dan. No, this is the first version of the eavesdropping music you sent me. So it's in the demo. I stuck it in there. What? You never sent it? This is like one of the first passes, I think. Anyway, the Renaissance. Thanks for coming, dropping in and chatting, all that. And yeah, when you do ever get a chance to stream it, let me know. I'd love to be there. Dan, that's possible. Yeah, no other way. Dan's in New York. I'm in Toronto, so the chances are slim that I would have broken into his house and gotten this. And there's a weird artifact here. I don't know what it is. It's like a yellow artifact on the left lamp for the dialogue box. I have no idea what that is. Oh, thanks, the Renaissance. Thanks for following me on Twitter. We've only just arrived, but I can't wait to leave. I've always hated this place. We'll get this whole affair straightened out and be gone in no time. Of course, locating the will would expedite our departure. I told you I don't even know if there is a will. That does complicate things, yes. Well, you do your job and I'll do mine. Game is autosaved. That's another quality of life thing. There's some autosave points. Okay. And here we are. New people. So let's have a look. The parlor is fussily decorated with elaborate wallpaper and a cushy carpet. A cut crystal bowl of Jordan almonds sits on a low table. There is a fancy pair of armchairs and a camelback sofa. A small bronze sculpture stands on an ornate cupboard. Great. Okay. You see a stern older woman with gray streaking her brown hair. You see a tall, natty man with brown hair and a striped vest. All right. First things first, let us take a look at the piece. This is a Group of Seven piece. And there it is in all its pixelated glory. As much as I could do. Okay. All right. So, let us talk. Here's another thing. I mentioned if there are multiple people in the room, you can say talk to people and it will talk to both people. Good evening. My name's Nancy Maple. It's nice to meet you. I'm Nessa Crab, Evan's older sister. What on earth are you doing here? Are you another one of Evan's gold-digging girlfriends? Not at all, but I am a diamond-digging mineralogist. At least, I hope to be. The government has sent a professional to handle that. Stay out of his way. How are you, Nessa? I'll be happy when I can get back to civilization and reaping the benefits of this incredible windfall. Hello, how do you do? My name's Nancy Maple. Hello, Miss Maple. My name is Corvus Shaw. I'm Mrs. Nessa Crab's, Nay Richards' lawyer. She is Evan's older sister. He gestures to the woman seated on the sofa. Once diamonds have been found on this land, I will ensure Mrs. Crab gets the share owed to her. You sound pretty sure that there are diamonds here. Of course. The prospectors have looked everywhere else. That means the diamonds must be here. Well, we'll see about that. So here's the tracking. Still have a few people to go before we can have dinner. And dinner won't happen until we've talked to everyone. Oh, another thing. So before we went into this room, you notice we did that little bit of eavesdropping on these two having a conversation. And you'll notice that that is not actually listed in the notebook as things you have to do to progress the game. The notebook will only tell you what you need to do to progress through the game. But it won't, tell you everything that you can do in the game. And that's because I want to encourage players to explore and, ask people questions and learn more about the story themselves. But for people who, I want to play through, and want to just see the story and not worry too much about exploring every nook and cranny, that's what the notebook is also for, is people who just want to follow through with this. But there's a lot of listening in and conversations that you will miss if you just follow the notebook. So, so we mentioned there are Jordan almonds. Look, almonds. Jordan almonds have a teeth-breakingly hard candy shell. You've always felt they are not worth the effort. These Jordan almonds are piled high in a cut crystal bowl on a fancy coffee table. Jordan... Oh no. Oh, wow. I don't know why that happened twice. Longshot, you love exploring old mansion games too? Yeah, me too. That's why I had to do this. It was my first impulse when I figured out how to do pixel art, was I wanted to make a little house. Take almonds. Never knowing when a confection that could double as small caliber ammunition might come in handy, you take a handful. I'll probably open every drawer and cabinet that you can. You can. Except there's some that are locked. I will say that. But most of them are. Handful of Jordan almonds, colorful, unpalatable, and harder than most rocks you've studied. The surface of the Jordan almond is disconcertingly smooth and unblemished. Can nothing scratch its indomitable shell. Yeah, Laszlo, good note. Yeah, the old lady is not going to be hungry for supper with all these almonds she stuffs in her mouth. Yeah, exactly. Eating with, find a sling, take out giants with Jordan almonds. Yeah, they're fun. I do like them. But you can even... I haven't programmed a lot of give commands in this game yet, but you can try giving almonds to Nessa if you want. Almond to Nessa. Can you scratch the shell with a diamond? Interesting, Longshot. Would you like a Jordan almond? Why would I want one that's had your grubby hands all over it? Give almond. So, when I press the spacebar or F3, the parser will bring back up the last thing that you entered into the parser. So that's a good way, if you're asking people a lot of questions and you just want to backspace over the question you're asking and ask, multiple questions, that's the way to do it. Give almond to man. You can do man. Would you like a Jordan almond? No, thank you. I have more than enough. Okay, so this room is a fantastic feat because you can sit in two different places in this room. I know. I don't know why, but yes, you can. Walk closer to where you'd like to sit. Amigo, but how many rooms are in the game? I would say probably 65. And probably the whole game probably will not have much more than like 75 maximum, I would say. because the game really focuses on the interior of the lodge and the surroundings of the lodge. So there won't be much more beyond that because I wanted to focus on like a small area where you kind of get used to it and you kind of see how things change over time when people go different places. So yeah, it's not a heck of a lot of rooms, I would say, compared to other adventure games. Oh yeah, I was going to demonstrate this wonderful thing I did. You can sit here. Or you can sit here. You can see she's got her arms on the armrest and everything. I don't know. Again, this is part of the hobby time portion of development where I was just doing stuff. To be honest, like now, when I in fall 2018, spring of 2019, I actually started to work on this game full time because I realized that I was not getting the momentum I needed to get anywhere with it if I didn't do that. And also, I wanted to show, and I wanted to show the game in events. I wanted to promote the game too, and it's hard to do that when you're not regularly developing it or doing anything with it. Oh wow! Original King's Quest is 83 rooms. Yeah, so my game doesn't have a heck of a lot of rooms. And KQ1 was certainly one of the smaller Sierra games. Yeah, so yeah, 75 rooms. I estimate it's going to be like that. Like right now, Adventure Game Studio will say that I have 70 rooms in the game, but some of those rooms are like introductory credit rooms and stuff that aren't actual physical rooms. Yeah, so stat. Yeah, so as I am in spring 2019, fall 2018, I started to do this full time. So I'm much more focused on what I need to execute to develop the game. So, which is kind of fortunate because I have all this the extra stuff like sitting in all the chairs and everything already done, and I don't have to worry about that because it's a nice detail. But you know, long shot. You wonder how many rooms Kano's Bequest had. That is a good question too. I feel like it was a smaller game too. Yeah, here's another room you can again place. You can open everything. Let's just do that because we can. Well, another thing about this is I made it so you can stand near the thing and open the thing you want, or you can actually specifically say open right locker and she'll walk over to it, depending on whatever you like to do. But yeah, there's no reason for this to be here, but it's like a lodge in northern Ontario, so I figured there would be a mud room, which was a place you would scrape and wash your boots off after being outside. That's why that is here, and it's got tiles on it because tile floors are easier to clean. Maybe I'll come up with some reason why this is here. I don't know. I have an idea, but okay. Another bathroom. This room has, again, you can flush the toilet, you can wash your hands. No reason for this to be here, except I felt like there should be a bathroom on the ground floor, like a half bathroom. Yeah. Next. Oops, next. Am I missing anything? This is a play of the demo. Also, just a tour of the lodge, I guess. Yeah, another closet. Huge cupboard. I don't. There's nothing in here. Yeah, it's empty. But I felt like there should be a main floor closet in the lodge. It's a pretty big place. Okay, this brings us to another piece of art. Oops. That is in the game. This one. Another absinthe. The people, they love their absinthe back in the whatever time this was. But yeah, this is another absinthe poster. Lost Look, is there going to be furniture in the hallway in the future? Probably not, I guess. It just, I wanted to make the hallway like a thoroughfare for easy to walk through, easy to walk around. Okay, so. Here is this bar area. You can, of course, you can see. You can't sit on the bar stools, though. So, I don't know, sit on stool? No, you can't sit there. You can't sit here either. She only sits in this one place. Well, Onward. This is the dining room. Kisai Tenchi says Colonel's Bequest has 96 rooms, but some of those are just one-use rooms. Yeah, like I bet some of them are like close-ups of certain things. Like in the intro, we've got a close-up of Henri Dijon wagging his finger with Fifi behind him. That counts as a room probably. Other close-up things probably the same thing. But yeah, Okay, so we have this room, and there's a fun Easter egg in here. I'm going to save the game. Oh yeah, so that was the name of the autosave. I put the exclamation mark on the colon before so you know it's an autosave and not one that you've done yourself. Toast. So yeah, you can open up all this. This one I actually started to fill in with stuff. Like, you know, this is stuff you'd see in a dining room, I guess. Yeah, the armor, the will, those are all close-up shots that would probably count as Room's Key Tenchi in the Colonel's Bequest. Yeah. Open. Amiga Bill, has anyone played Virtuaverse yet? I haven't. The art is really cool, right up my alley, of course, but I haven't. Oh, you can open this. Oops. See. Alright, there's stuff in here. Like, you can look at all these. Cupboard contains a chafing dish and some serving platters. You can't take chafing dish. You can try. As much as you enjoy a good hot meal, carrying around a chafing dish for such occasions is a bit much. Yeah, so I started to fill in some of this. So whatever cupboards and drawers in the finished game that don't have like game important inventory items, I plan on filling with like stuff, like detail stuff, that will kind of give you more of a well-rounded idea of the history of the lodge and potentially the characters too. Oh, thanks, Longshot. Thanks for saying that you think the game looks awesome. I like the touch with these drawers. Like, you can see their cutlery, and some of that cutlery is like 2 pixels big, or 2 to 4 pixels big. That one, But the beauty of EGA and the beauty of low resolution art is that so much of what you think you're seeing is based on context, right? So we're in a dining room. You open up drawers in a dining room. You see, some gray dots in a drawer. And they can read, I don't know if they read for you, but they read for me as forks and knives and stuff. And it's magic to me. It really is. And I have a lot of affection for the color palette. Okay, so we're going to... Oh, Sither, do you plan on localizing this into other languages, or would that be just too much work? Yeah, I do get the localization question quite a bit. And what I tell people is, like, for the localization question, when people ask me, is this going to get ported to a, console or iPad or, something like that, what I do say is I would love in the future for that to be something for me to consider. So if the game will launch on a Windows PC and Mac OS, and if the game does well enough to justify localization and porting to other platforms, I would love that. I would love to have to think about that. But at the moment, like, it's just me making it. Like, I'm making every aspect of this game, and then I'm also promoting it, and I'm streaming the development side of it. And Dan Policar, who I don't know if he's still in the chat, but Dan Policar is making music for the game, but everything else I'm handling, like I said, including PR and stuff. So I just, and also I'm self-funding this. That's another thing. So this is, I'm working on off my savings at the moment to finish it. So localization would be a great thing for me to think about, but that will be a future consideration based on how well the game does. Yeah, Dan's still here. Yes, Dan, good. You're probably not composing for this game, but we won't talk about that at the moment. But yeah, Dan, he does on his channel, which I will link. I'll link up Dan's stuff. Dan, he is has his own Twitch channel where he streams music development, where he'll show how he uses DOSBox to run Windows 3.11, to run his Roland MT32 software, which he's actually using, and I can't believe it, but I'm so lucky. No problem, Sither. Yeah, thanks for coming in and being in the chat, because I know a lot of people moved from the Steam broadcast on the store page to my Twitch channel because of it was laggy on Steam, which is probably my fault because, like I mentioned before, I'm using an old machine that's really underpowered, so it's probably my fault. But yeah, so Dan, I just Dan Policar, in the Twitch chat I just linked up his stuff, and he does music game dev, which is really cool, and he's a really great keyboardist. Yeah, so yeah, I was going to show the fun. There's a death in this too, and it's another one of those things where you have to work for it. So let's toast. To adventure, to mystery. Long live text parsers and EGA. Here we go. Nice. So this is a decanter, and people who enjoy yes, Prost, eating with people who enjoy Colonel's Bequest. This is an item that you will also find in Colonel's Bequest, crystal decanter. But I don't know if it's going to be the same kind of crystal decanter. It's a tribute in a way, and it's also, yeah, I mean, they would have that here. Can we, if I toast, does toasting count as a drink? Or can you toast forever? Oh, yes. Long shot, you said, honestly, the death scenes are your favorite part of adventure games? When I was a kid, I was very scared of them, but I can totally see the appeal now. Okay. Oh yeah, you can just drink. You don't have to toast every time. My goodness, this stuff is going straight to my head. So here is the caution. Here is the know your limit type of warning. You detect aniseed, then subtle spice and honey flavors. The warm taste lingers on your palate. Kisai Tenchi, you like the space questing Quest for Glory, best intentional death scenes? There's an art to them, for sure. These tasting notes I took from probably a Canada Club whiskey, or some kind of whiskey tasting notes, potentially. I'm not a connoisseur or anything like that. But you're certainly no expert. Right. Right. Alright. So that's that. Yeah, I think it's whiskey. I think it's whiskey. I had a lot of fun with that animation. Okay. Next, here's the kitchen. So this was the first game I made, first room in the game that is in the game. The first room I made is not in the game because it doesn't look very good. Nancy's a lightweight. I think she had 5 shots of whiskey. Interesting eating with. Yeah, whiskey spelled with an E. Yeah, I think in Canada we spell it with an E. I don't know. Potentially. Okay, so we have this room where we have Jack. So we have to talk to Jack. Hello, Jack. How do you do? I'm Nancy Maple. Sorry, I can't talk right now, miss. I'm busy. Let's look at Jack. Jack is busy preparing dinner. Yes. He doesn't want your help either. Whoa there, I'm cooking up dinner. Get out from under my feet. So, no thank you with the help. But there are, there's a fun thing in here, actually. If Nancy's the same size as Julia, I think 5 shots back to back would immediately knock her out too. Yeah, this is realistic. This is realistic. Maker's Mark, Amigo Bell. Nice. Edenwith says whiskey spelled with an E in Ireland, but Scotland with no E. Whiskey. Maybe she hit her head on the floor. Okay, so there's a fun little thing in here. Now, Blue Mug. This game is developed using Adventure Game Studio, and the logo or the little mascot kind of is for Adventure Game Studio is a blue mug or a blue cup, and so some Adventure Game Studio developers will put one in their game. And I don't know if Tom Simpson is still here, who made Farrier Darls, but I don't know, I think he might have mentioned that he put a blue mug in his game. I know Lamplight City has one, near the end, I think. And I'm not sure how many other developers put the blue mug in their game, but I would not be surprised to see more or hear more. Here's another fun thing that I like. Before I take this mug, so you can see that this cabinet has a glass front, and so you can kind of see through to the contents behind the cabinet, behind the glass. So if you take the mug and you close this cabinet, You can see the mug is no longer there. I happen to be very pleased with that. Oh, anyway, you didn't know about the blue mug Easter egg? Amigo Bill, yeah, Lamplight City is like a lot of fun. It's set in like an alternate history U.S., which is called Vespuccia. Yeah, the world is kind of fantastic in that. All right, so, and to further the blue mug tribute, mug has a beautiful blue glaze. If you take a closer look, the bottom of the mug has an inscription that reads as follows: AG Studio by Chris Jones, model 3.3.5.7. And that model is the version of Adventure Game Studio that I'm using, which is an older version actually. And Chris Jones is the one who created Adventure Game Studio. Okay. Right. Open door. Oh, I have to get closer because there's two doors in this. When there's only one door in a room and you type open door, she'll walk over to the only door in the room. But if there's more than one, yeah, she's going to need a little help. Okay. Listen. Okay, I hear voices near this doorway. I wonder what they're talking about. So, let's see. So, yeah, there's no prompt to eavesdrop at doors in the notebook. There will be one a little later. But, yeah, this is just, encouraging people. There's more to it than just the notebook. Let us eavesdrop. Okay. So, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about it? We aren't going to do anything. I'm going to stay out of everyone's way and wait for this all to blow over. What if they find... Shh! Listen, if you want to talk, we'll do it privately later. Meet me in the study after dinner. Game is autosaved. This, so we can have a seat. The conservatory is a stunning showpiece of a room. Surely the expense and trouble to bring this many panes of glass this far north must have been enormous. Conservatory. So, you see a husky older man wearing beaten-up denim overalls. You see a tall, broad man with long dark hair and a fringed jacket. Conservatory. Long shot. I'm glad you say the room is nice. This might be my favorite room in terms of just how nice it ended up looking. The difference between daytime and nighttime is pretty dramatic in this room because of how many windows are in this room. Like a lot of the other lodge rooms, the lighting doesn't change much except slightly around the window because there's only one window where the window is pretty small. But this room does change quite a bit in terms of the lighting from day to night. But it's a conservatory, and the reason why it's a conservatory is one of the inspirations I had in the game, for the game, was Clue, or Cluedo as they call it in Europe, I learned. The Clue board has a conservatory, it has a study, it has a billiard room, which I also have, which we'll see fairly soon. But yeah, there is... I used it as a cue for the kind of rooms the lodge would have too. Oh yeah, we gotta talk. Let's talk to Evan. Yeah, you know her spiel. So you get to say this 8 times in the intro, in chapter 1. So I feel like by the time the player has played through chapter 1, they've got a pretty good idea of who they are and what they're doing and, everyone else. I'm Evan Richards. Look, you and your friend can stay the night, but tomorrow morning Jack will put you on a train back to the city. But my boss sent me up here on behalf of the Royal Canadian Museum. I'm a mineralogist. I've got too much on my plate as it is, what with my sister and that lawyer of hers, and one mineralogist is already one too many. Please, Mr. Richards, allow me to stay for just a little while, and Kimmy, too. Me, Margot, and Jack is all I want in this here lodge. You seem like a nice girl, but all this brouhaha is making my head ache. I'm sorry to disappoint you. And let's talk to Nat. Alright. Hello, Miss Maple. I'm well, thank you. My name is Nathan Cardinal, a family friend of Evan's. How do you know him? Oh, I actually don't know Mr. Richards at all, etc. Assignment. Museum. I'm here to survey the land and find out if there are diamonds here. A discovery like that would surely make a splash when the museum opens to the public. Oh, Edenwaith, I'm glad that you appreciate brouhaha. So the bit about the Royal Canadian Museum, it's based on the Royal Ontario Museum, which does exist in Toronto. And it did open to the public in the summer of 1914. So if it's the same museum that Nancy works for, then it is a fairly new. It hasn't been open for very long, and that's why her boss is like extra keen on getting a really cool diamond exhibit. You're wasting your time, I'm sorry to say. My family has lived in this area for many, many years and have never found diamonds here. Small red garnets are still plentiful, but of little value. Alright. You hear Jack calling supper. It's time to head to the dining room. Great. So, we've updated our objectives. We don't have anything on the next page. Go to dining room is our next objective. Yeah, long shot. I don't know, brouhaha, I don't know the origins of that word and what it would derive from. Last Look is asking, what are the hardest things for me to draw? Well, you know what? Actually, the dining room scene that we're going to see will probably demonstrate that. So hopefully I'll remember to address that when we get to the dining room scene, because that's probably the stuff that takes me the longest to do for a few reasons. Okay, so before we head to the dining room, we're going to just visit the last two rooms in the lodge that we haven't gone to. This is the study. For hardest things for you to draw are pixels. Brouhaha, you just remember using the term brouhaha in a journalism article? Nice. So this is the study, and well, didn't Nathan and Evan talk about meeting here after dinner? Maybe we can see what that's all about. Brouhaha. But yeah, here's another thing that I did in the game because it was fun, I guess. So swivelly, like spinny, swivelly office chairs are actually have been around longer than you might think. I think one of the founding fathers designed the first spinny wheelie chair. I don't remember which one, but it was a thing in like the late 1800s. I don't think many people had them, but they existed. So why don't we have a seat? Great. And you can spin. This is not a death, like you can't die from this, because I don't think you could if you wanted to, but just a fun thing. I did. Okay, last room, and then we're going to head to the dining room. And the dining room doors did open as a visual cue, in case you hadn't been there yet. Yeah, you can in fact go there. Okay. So yeah, this room is an example of a room that I was looking at a clue board, and I said, hey, there's a billiards room in the clue board, and I want a billiards room. That's a cool room. Well, it's an inn, so you think they might have a games room, right? Oh, thanks, Last Look. I'm glad you enjoy the animations. Yes, Kisai Tenchi, the first swivel chair invented by Thomas Jefferson, is purported to be the chair on which he drafted the United States Declaration of Independence in 1776. So, yes. And it's funny because, I don't know, when I think of a swivelly chair, I don't think of it being, that old. Let's see. Let's sit. We can sit in here too. Whoop. Taking the bill. You can't, you can try to take a cue, but there's no one to play here right now. And so here's an example of something I built in the game just because I was making a lodge and I wanted a billiards room. But I have, in chapter 3, there's a puzzle that involves the billiard room. So I made it because I thought, there has to be a reason for this to be here. So I designed a reason for it to be here. Oh, Lost Look, you like the lighting on the back wall? Thank you. Yeah, I loved, it's one of those, it's a fun thing to do in EGA. You can just see where everything is. Yeah, Grundislav, let's link to him. Yeah, he's the local to, actually, Dan met Francisco before he met me, actually. Yeah, Francisco, he streams like art dev stuff, which is kind of fun. Alright, so let's head into the dining room. Let's save I don't know why I'd save. You know what, it's funny. I made this game, I should know it backwards and forwards, and I still save a lot for some reason. I don't know why. Pre-dinner. Just in case we need to come back to pre-dinner, I don't know. Okay, so here is the second original musical composition that Dan has composed for the game. Yeah, save early, save often, long shot, exactly. So Dan composed this beautiful original on for and on a Roland MT32 piece. Okay. So here is the dining room cutscene, and you can see everyone is at the table, sitting, and I don't know if you can hear the music. If you want me to turn up the music at all, just let me know. That's a thing we can do. We have the capability. But I tested it before. Hopefully it's at the right, an appropriate level. But you can see everyone's eating, doing their thing, except Nessa. Maybe she's full. Maybe she's grumpy. Maybe she doesn't like the cooking. Not sure. She's not having any of it, though, is she? You can turn it up? Okay. I will turn it up slightly. Whoops. Can I turn it up now? You know what? Maybe I can't turn it up right now. Because I have to get to the menu, and I can't get to the menu yet. What I'm going to do, see, this is why it's good to save. Because I'm going to skip, and I'm going to restore, load. Pre-dinner. See? It's useful. Let's pump up the volume a little bit. And then go in. Better? Audible? Too loud? Too quiet? There is also a dining room scene in the Colonel's Bequest, but it is at the very beginning of the game, so that's when you get to enjoy that. I really like this scene because, yeah, you can see it's like one of the few times you got everyone in the same room together. Okay, well, I think it's all right. Okay, well, we'll keep it for now. It's 10 p.m. So this is a 2-hour mark. In terms of where we are in the demo, we're probably like, depending on how much you actually do, we're very close. We can be close to the end, or there's a few things we can see or listen to before we actually get to the end. So I don't think this is going to take more than like 15 minutes to get to the end. Hopefully, Amiga Bill can't hear it for some reason. Uh-oh. Is it really low? Well, you know what? I think it's important enough to just try to pump it up again, and because Dan worked really hard on this, and it's really pretty. Okay, Dan, I'm gonna put it up. Dan, okay, on speakers. Okay, we're gonna pump it up. Okay, EK. Okay, I'm gonna Okay, now I'm getting requests for the music. I'm actually gonna pump it up substantially because it's a beautiful piece. Okay, so we're gonna do this. Alright. Hopefully that'll do it. Okay. So we're gonna go through. My goodness, what a lot of company we have tonight. This is giving me indigestion. So here is, Lost Look asked me, well, what art is the hardest for you to do? And I'll say it's this type of thing, like these close-up pieces are the hardest for me to do. A couple reasons for that. One is I have way more experience doing the background art than this close-up stuff. So it's one of the things is, yeah, I just don't have as much experience. Another thing is, you know, when you're building a scene like this and you're animating it, there's just so many more pixels that you have to adjust, right? So that's another thing to be concerned about. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you guys like the close-ups. As I'm building the game right now, there aren't that many in my current build, but I hope to go back and add more because I think they're a beautiful touch. But yeah, these ones take me a while. I mean, hopefully they'll take me less time as I get better at them, but there just hasn't been much opportunity. Okay. This food is giving me indigestion. Long shot, the dithering on the cabinet in the background is just perfect. That's another thing. Like, yeah, everything. So not even just what gets animated, but the detail that I have to go into For the furniture, everything is so much larger, so there's so many more decisions I have to make for each pixel. So, yes, that takes a really long time. You're welcome to leave. In fact, please do. You'd like that, wouldn't you? I'm not going anywhere until we find out if that diamond came from this land. And if it did, then you'd better believe I'm getting my share. Oh, thanks, Ambrosine. I'm so happy people like the close-up so much, because that definitely encourages me to do more of them. And yeah, the lighting effect changing the back wall too, yeah. And there's a bit of flicker on their heads, very slightly. That's what you think. Yes, that's what we think, and that's what I'm here to ensure. Hey you, how long is that gonna take? I will begin my field work tomorrow morning. Crimson used to be a garnet mining town, yes? Yeah, but forget about visiting the mines. They blasted the mine entrances shut years ago when they closed it down. Unless the fish had a pickaxe, broke into the mine, swallowed the diamond, then dove back into the river? Yes, I see. I've never been there, couldn't tell you where it is. Mr. Richards gets a sour look on his face and digs back into his meal. He looks like he is done with this conversation. Margot, what a lovely necklace you're wearing. Thank you, mademoiselle. Monsieur Evans, he gave it to me. I'm very fond of it. A cheap trinket. Misshapen paste gem in a cheap setting. It's a white garnet, not glass. My Richard, he found it here in crimson, didn't you, mon cher? Never mind that, Margot. No one wants to hear about that. My sapphire brooch. Now this is a real piece of jewelry. Bought it myself. Well, I think they're both quite nice. Here's another one of those close-ups. Yeah, these take a while. I read in the newspaper that most of the land up here was once parceled out to settlers. Is that how this plot became property of Mr. Richards' father? About 50 years ago, this land was annexed by the government. Various treaties were signed in exchange for preservation of our hunting and fishing rights and financial compensation. The promises described in those treaties were not honored, by the way. Settlers came, mines were dug, and Crimson was prosperous for a time. But eventually, the mines were exhausted. Most settlers abandoned their homesteads and Crimson became a ghost town. Only Mr. Richards and his family remained. Yeah, we liked the peace and quiet. We liked it. I always hated it here. I sure do miss peace and quiet. Nessa and Corvus are first to excuse themselves from the table. They head to the bar for a nightcap, which is where you can find them after dinner. Jack clears away the dishes and goes to the kitchen to wash up. After eating a minuscule portion of supper, Margot heads upstairs to draw a bath. Kimmy and Albert head to their respective rooms and get ready for bed. Nathan and Evan remain at the table, lingering over their desserts. Okay. Well, that was a lovely meal. Yeah, Jack does a good job. Usually, I wait for Jack to come clear the dishes so as I can put off getting up. Looks like he's taking longer than usual to clear up, what with all the extra guests. I feel a little responsible for Jack's extra workload. Maybe I ought to give him a hand. He'd appreciate that. About time someone made themselves useful around here. All right, so here we are. After dinner. And I think there is an autosave. Nope. Ooh, post-dinner. Okay, so yeah, we can clear the dishes right now. I mean, there are a few different ways you can go about things. You can clear the dishes now, which will put Evan in. You know what? Let's just demonstrate. Let's not talk. Let's show. So let's take that cue and let's clear those dishes. Knowing Jack will appreciate the help, you begin clearing the dishes away. You didn't wait. I completely sympathize with Mr. Richards wanting peace and quiet. Yeah, and it's funny because Dave Gilbert played a build of this, and he was giving me notes on it. Dave Gilbert, who of Jedi Games, he was saying, why is Nancy, getting so involved and asking people questions and getting in people's faces? If it was him, he would just stay in the room like for the whole night until it was dinner, right? And so I totally get his point because I'm exactly the same way. And for me, Kimmy behaves the way I would behave in something like this, where she just wants to stay out of everyone's way. She's going to show up for dinner. She's going to go to her room. She's just not going to have it. No drama. But that's not how we succeed in an adventure game, so that's not what Nancy's like. A Lost Look wants to know, I'm curious about the font. Did you design it yourself? And yeah, I did. I know it's not the most legible font, let's say. At the resolution I'm working at. It's kind of tricky because I didn't just want to go for 100%. Just make it as legible as possible. I wanted there to be like a hint of like old timey flavor to it. Although, if it's too difficult for people to read, I may just simplify it even further, or just give an option or something. Yakisai Tenchi, Nosy Nancy. You gotta be a Nosy Nancy, to succeed. Okay, oh yes, so then if you clear the dishes, they leave. You deal with the dirty dishes. Come back. So let's see. So yeah, as promised, there is Jack with the dishes. Oh yeah, let's check the notebook. A Lost Look, isn't that a lot of work to do? The C made you realize it was probably custom work. There is, I used to actually an in-browser font editor to make the font. And I can't remember what it's called now, but it's really good. Oh my gosh. I want to support it and big up it because it is really good. Font Foundry, I want to say. Font. Nope. I don't know what it's called. Yikes. But yeah, I use some in that you can even save your progress and stuff like that. It's a really, really good, for me and for my purposes anyway, it was a really good font designer. Font Struct. Moral Recordings. Let me look it up, make sure. That really does ring a bell. It's been so long since I've like messed with the font that that might be it. Font Struct. Yes. Thank you, Moral Recordings. Yes. 100%. I used Font Struct for the font, and it's really super handy, pretty user friendly too. I was doing something very blocky. It doesn't have to be something very blocky. You can actually get some beautiful curves in and stuff like that. But for my purposes, it was perfect. Okay, so what was I doing? Yes, right. So now, if you go to the study, you'll hear voices. If you open the door, it's getting late, Nat. Perhaps we'll talk another time. You have a nice night. Oh, good, more recordings. You like it too for grid-based fonts? Yeah. So, here's the thing, is this can happen. So you've kind of, in a way, you've missed the conversation, but it's not in the notebook. The notebook tells you to help Jack with dishes. So if you type in the parser, in the kitchen, help Jack with dishes, it's going to push you to the next stage of the game, the next progress point. So this whole conversation between Evan and Jack, Evan and Nat, the conversation in the study between Evan and Nathan is not essential to progressing through the game, but it will give you details. So we will listen to it. A couple ways to listen to it. And so I'll show you. Post dinner. Let's do this. Clear dishes again. So you can clear the dishes. Get them to leave. Go to the study. So we know they're having that conversation in the study. Give the dishes, and then now we can go into here. And it's kind of one of those things where you're not allowed into this area until after dinner because Jack is busy with dinner. So if you open the cupboard here, you can take a glass. You take a drinking glass from the cupboard. And there are drinking glasses in other parts of the game. You see them on dressers and stuff like that. But what I did was, because people are having such a hard time finding this particular drinking glass to listen with, that I made it so she says I should check the kitchen for them. So anyway, this is a drinking glass. Spotless. Jack is quite fastidious. brilliant shine on this squeaky clean drinking glass. We can actually use this glass on the study door. With the help of the drinking glass, you hear a conversation behind the study door. Look, I don't know what else to tell you. My father and your father had an agreement. This doesn't change anything. Yeah, so long shot. So this, this is an Amon Ra thing where you do use that drinking glass. And so, there are like inventory items, there are things you can do in the Crimson Diamond, which kind of refer back to those games, in a way. What if they find diamond? What happens to the agreement then? No one's found any diamonds here. Nothing changes. We'll see what we can do about the nosy Belgian. So yeah, I do refer to him as the Belgian sometimes. Den does not hate the eavesdrop theme. Let the record show that Den is the musician who composed the eavesdropping theme, which I think is great too. It's just we were having discussions about it. People were saying it's too scary, too tense. It's a little too aggressive, yeah. Maybe I can change the sounds to sound less angry. Yeah, we talked about that deep rumbling tone, right? Of being a little scary. And Longshot, yes, it is mysterious, and I do love the mystery of it. And Margot, how many times do we got to go over this? She's my gal, all right, but a promise is a promise. When I'm gone, I'm giving this land back to you and your family, simple as that. We've been promised many things in the past. None of them came to pass. I got no truck with the feds, you know that. I am not them. We'll see. What about your sister? Nessa? Yeah, that's a complication. I'll figure something out. Just don't do anything rash, got it? I'm deeply concerned. Yeah, get out of here, why don't you? I'll be seeing you, Evan. Uh-huh. Evan and Nathan seem to finish their conversation. And here's another thing about reading the text out. Whatever tone you happen to apply to that conversation is kind of up to the reader. And I actually really like that about there not being any voice acting in the game. Because it's like it's like a book in that way, where you're kind of assigning a tone to this conversation based on what you know about these people. So I feel like that's kind of a cool thing. Foray, how come some dialogue boxes have lamps on the edges and some don't? Is there a meaning to that? Some of them, I think, did that conversation just because I don't remember. The default dialogue box should have the lamp, but when I do like cutscenes, like the close-up cutscenes, I don't think I have the lamps in them. I think. Yeah, Lost Look. That was a Found Something music. It's a chord actually, like a little success chord that Dan designed, and there's actually 3 of them that all sound slightly different. So it's not exactly the same tone every time, but yeah, it's a success tone. Yeah, Longshot, you're totally fine without voice acting. I'm glad because, solo indie dev, self-funding, the idea of doing it's so much more work to do. I mean, you ask Francisco Gonzalez about how it took him 3.5 months to do the lip sync for Lamplight City, and it nearly drove him crazy. Yeah, I'm not interested in doing that. Like, I'm not interested in all that work to do. And besides, with this style of game, they didn't really have voice acting, so I'm actually one of those people too who tends to skip the voice acting anyway. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly, Longshot. The non-voice acting seemed to fit with the EGA of it. Okay, so that was an example of one of the ways you can listen to this conversation. But there's a more fun way to do it, which I'll give you now. So if you don't clear the dishes, you just leave them here. You leave these guys to their desserts. There's a fun. So this is another Dagger of Amon Ra, a Laura Bow 2 little bit of a tribute, which I could not resist. Is they're going to come in here, right? They're going to come into the study after dinner at some point. So what we can do Yeah, Kisai attention, you always read faster than the voice acting in a lot of games. Yeah, I skip over it. Like 90% of the time I skip over it. I think the only time I wasn't listening to, when I listened to the voice acting, I think one of the few times was maybe Day of the Tentacle, because it was just so good. And there was so much comedy that was read so perfectly. Okay, so, right, so you can, this is a Dagger from Amon Ra thing, you can hide behind the tapestry. You stealthily slip behind the tapestry. So here they are having the exact same conversation they just had. But the benefit is you can actually see them having the conversation. I don't know if this is a spoiler necessarily. But yeah, this is the same conversation, but you're in the room with them. Lost Look wants to know about a very old school game made by Erdorf? No, I don't know that one. Let me write this down. Okay, so the game is called Faith by Erdorf. Erdorf? Cool. I spelled it. Okay. Right. So, same conversation, and I mean, look at her. Right? Look, how can you... I could not help myself. You can see the outline of her body behind the tapestry and her little feet. Yeah, I don't know. Fun thing I just wanted to do. So, the only thing you get out of this extra from this conversation is you actually get to see them shake hands, which might affect how you feel about how that conversation went. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, 32-Bit Kid has some examples of top-tier voice acting in adventure games. Fate of Atlantis, Quest for Glory 6, and Unavowed. Can't imagine playing any of those with the voiceover off. Yes, the outline of her body alongside on the tapestry. Couldn't help myself. I don't think I have any more visual references to share. Okay. So we can hear that conversation. And after that, here's Evan doing a different thing. So I wanted to create the feeling that these people, they move around the house, and they do their own thing. Jack's here washing the dishes still. There are the dishes. You can clear them now if you want for like niceness points, I guess. Oh, you hear some more conversations. This one is one where it's like a casual conversation, where you can kind of lurk outside the door. They're not closing the door. This brandy is not bad, surprisingly. Oh yeah, actually, in this one, they do have little lamps on them, the dialogue boxes. It isn't the worst brandy I've ever drunk. It's far from the best. Hey, my wife Gabrielle is a teetotal, no fun at all. Ha, sounds like a barrel of laughs. You said she's a teacher. Yes, she loves the little tots with their sticky fingers. I was basically Evan's mother while we were growing up. I've hated kids ever since. He was such a chubby little whiner. He loved Crimson. Then again, he didn't know any better. Whereas I remembered a real home back in England. Crimson couldn't compare. Have you any children, Albert? Certainly not. So, do you think there are really diamonds here? Because if there are, I'm going to get my fair share no matter what. Yeah, I know the characters tend to come on rather strong with like their one issue. I don't know, I think it's important for establishing character. How soon will you know? I cannot say, madam. Tomorrow morning I will begin my field work. My superiors wish me to be thorough. I may be here a while. Well, I hope you know sooner rather than later. I've never liked this place, and now I have to watch that harlot fawn all over Evan. It sickens me watching him get so easily manipulated by her. Then again, he's never been very bright. Good night, madam, Mr. Shaw. Alright, so we can go in here. These two are still hanging around. Albert has gone to bed, so why don't we take a look at what's going on upstairs? Oops. Bed. No one's in bed here. Who is in bed? Oh yeah, Kimmy. Let's go visit Kimmy, because we know she went to bed. Here's Kimmy. You can look at Kimmy. You know, they will say different things, you know, at different stages of the game. You know, it's just a nice touch. Sometimes it'll be something important and stuff, but Kimmy's doing what I would be doing, which is chilling in bed, reading, not getting mixed up in all this stuff. And here's Margot. Hey, Margot. Don't mind me. Yeah, Lost Lake, she looks very comfy, Kimmy does. Hey, Margot. Talk. Margot, hey. How's the bath? Nancy is not really good with, you know, boundaries, I would say. But, you know, I don't think Margot is either, so I think it's kind of fine. Bonsoir, mademoiselle. The water is very soothing on my joints. Exactly, Lost. Look, she didn't lock her door. This is what you get when you don't lock your door. You get people just wandering in. She didn't even close the door, actually. Come to think of it. Oh, wow. Okay, 10:24. We're almost there. Okay. Okay, so we know what we need to do. So, let's get there. Well, let's clear these dishes or something. Yeah, Roy, if you don't lock your door, you're just asking to be murdered. Pretty much. Look, this is the Leisure Suit Larry stuff I was talking about. Oh yeah, I gotta help Jack. That's what we're here for. Help Jack. You help Jack with the dishes. Thanks, miss. Lots more dishes than usual. Happy to help. Oof, my voice. This is weird because I've done streams where it's like twice as long and I haven't lost my voice this much. Okay, now I gotta go see to Ms. Crab and Mr. Shaw in the bar. Have to make sure they don't drink us dry. And of course need to get Mr. Richards his hot toddy. He likes a soothing drink before bed. I think he helped himself. And I don't want to keep Margot waiting. Forget about that last one, won't you? Okay. Hold on, I'm going to just clear my throat, so I'm going to mute the mic. Oh, cool, for Roy. Hired sword too? Okay, I'll write that down. If I didn't already know. Okay, so one more little thing we can listen in on. Another little conversation for Commodore 64. Okay. Father's will has to be around here somewhere. Things would be so much easier if we could just find it. If the will can't be found, we might have to proceed as planned. Take our chances. The little gold digging hussy complicates things, but I'm dealing with her in my own way. We'll talk about that another time. Thank you, Longshot. Sorry about your voice. Maybe you should make a hot toddy. We're almost done. We only have one more thing to do. Okay. So we help Jack with dishes. Eavesdrop on boudoir door. Now this is the part where people get stuck a little bit, because when we head up there and see. Yeah, I think I cleared my throat a bit and feels a little better. Okay, so door's locked. So this is the thing, you know, the whole finding a drinking glass thing. It does occur to people, although they have trouble because you know, they see drinking glasses in other parts. Oh, you know what? It's fun to watch to see different stage of the game. Look, there's Kimmy all snug in bed. There's Corvus snug in bed. Everyone's asleep. Nessa's sleeping. She walked into her room and was like, "Why? Who ransacked my room?" Anyway, she hasn't even unpacked anyway, so I don't think she cared. And oh, Albert is in a bedroom that locks, so you can't see him. But I swear he's in there sleeping because I made that animation. Let's see. I wonder if I have a prompt message. You can just listen. You can hear muffled voices, but speakers are too far to hear them clearly. Perhaps you could listen at the door with an item that would help. So there's a little bit of a hint of it, although, I mean, I could make that clearer. I don't mind altering that a bit. But yeah, there's a glass here, right? So why can't I take this glass? Have you ever woken in the night with a fierce thirst? It would be monstrous to take the jug of glass. So, yeah. I'm sure there are plenty of drinking glasses elsewhere. Maybe I should try the kitchen. Oh, bed lost luck. Yeah, I don't mind making it easier for people. I always say that if people complain that my game is too easy, then I'll take it as a compliment. Because that means that they know what's expected and what they can and should do. And I don't mind that at all. Okay, so we're there, 10:30 just about. Listen with glass. Did I not get it? What the heck? Oh, you know what? I listened to the tapestry. Okay. Right. More recordings? That's so much kinder. Then you can't take the glass, it's nailed down. Or what glass? Yeah, you cannot take glass. I think since the glass is important to the rest of the game, it wouldn't be bad to make more obvious long shot. Yeah, you might have a point. Like, honestly, I might have her, explicitly say something, which is fine. Yeah, I don't mind doing that. Yeah, my message said to get it from the kitchen. Although you don't get that message unless you actually try to take one of the other glasses in the house. So, yeah. Okay. Listen with glass. Here we go. 10:30. Half an hour over from beginning to end. Okay. Let's have a look. Oh, monsieur, you are so wonderfully helpful. I do what I can. Ah, thank you so much. I can never reach that spot. My body aches, Jack. Well, that can't be helped. We can stop any time. No, I think it's working. Shh, you gotta keep it down, especially tonight. So many ears around. You are right, of course. Dan, you decided you've liked the point noise that you've designed? I'm glad, Dan. I like it too. Lost look, slightly, just a touch. I don't ever go more than this. I don't think I ever will in the rest of the game. This is as saucy as it gets. You are right, of course. This must remain our little secret. This reminds me of in Dagger from on Raw when Fifi talks about who is she talking? You overhear a conversation between Fifi and the accountant, and she talks about their little secrets, and I always like that line. Yeah, it's using Fifi, of course, but oh no, not Fifi. What's her name in Dagger from on Raw? The blonde lady. What's her name? Yvette. Yvette is speaking to the Egyptian accountant, and she says something about her little secret. Anyway. Yeah, and then you need to hear stuff in context. Yeah, like the fact that this is out of context is kind of, important. The voices go silent for a little while. Alright, I think we're done here. I gotta skedaddle before Mr. Richards finishes his drink and comes to bed. Of course. Merci, Jack. Your days and nights are so very long. You got that right, and I'm not done yet. Having all of these folks in the lodge, I gotta work that much harder. I'm sure they will be gone soon. Everything will be back to normal. I hope so. And here we go. We've come to the end. Bonne nuit, Jack. Good night. You hear footsteps coming towards the door. Thinking quickly, you duck behind the big blue chest. After waiting a few minutes, Margot leaves her boudoir and heads downstairs. You manage to sneak across the hall to your bedroom. What a long and intriguing night this has been. Outstanding. Fantastic detective work, Nancy. You're a natural. All right, I'm a natural, you guys. Phew, I'm exhausted. What an interesting place this is. It's too bad Kimmy and I have to leave on the train tomorrow. Ooh, chapter 2. Okay, so there we go. Like I said, this is my working copy right now, so it's not really the demo copy. If you were playing the demo, the game would say thank you for playing the demo and then quit. This is not in the demo. This is the other parts that I've built for the game. So yeah, we're gonna stop it right there, I think. But yeah, you get to see some of that daylight in the window, so that's nice. But yeah, I think. Come on, you have to continue now, Last Look. Yeah, no way, no matter how much you want to tempt me, I'm not gonna play more of the game. We have. Oh yeah, you want more Lost Look? Well, we gotta leave them wanting more, right? That's the rule of show business or whatnot. Dan, you can weigh in on this. You want to see the conservatory? Release the game already. There is actually, I do have I have a day and night comparison shot of just the conservatory on Twitter. Like I can tweet it or something. I've tweeted it before, so the still image does exist. But we're done. 10:35. Not too poor, not too badly over schedule, but I think that's gonna be it. So I'm just gonna. The last thing I'm gonna do is in the Twitch chat. I'll drop the links one more time. Show the daytime outside. Release each chapter one at a time. Now I'm gonna release the rest all at once, just because the thing is with testing and everything, it's easier to sort of fix everything all together than just bits at a time, and then refix it. And then if I give people a fixed chapter, 2 when they're working on chapter 2 and their save game is botched and stuff, people would get upset. There's no way I cannot guarantee that the save games will not work probably if I start fixing stuff. So I don't want people to have to when the game does launch, most likely people will have to replay chapter 1. But I wouldn't want people to play like half the game, right? To restart playing half the game because I changed something at the beginning that was a bug. Thanks you guys. Thanks for coming to the stream. And people who are watching on Steam, I see there are a few people still. Sorry for the chugging of the broadcast. It's probably my fault because of my tech and stuff. It's kind of old. But yeah, you can follow me at Julia Minamata on Twitter. TheCrimsonDiamond.com has all the links that I've been sharing on Twitch, so don't worry about feeling left out or anything like that. You can play this demo. Well, I don't know if you want to now, but you could play the demo. You can ask people and other characters all kinds of questions that I didn't get around to asking this time because of time and stuff. For Windows and Mac OS, it's on Steam, of course. And if you came into the stream at a later time, I post all my streams on YouTube on my channel, which is just, again, if you look for my name on YouTube, my channel, you should find it, no problem. Dan, who is in chat, is the musician on the game, and he'll do music dev streams. Next week's will be an art dev stream. I'll probably be working on upgrading some of the intro art that I showed at the beginning of this stream. But yeah, let's see. I just want to catch up to chat real quick. Oh Oh yeah, Lost Look. So part of the Steam Game Festival. What's it about? It's just a showcase of like a bunch of like demos and stuff that game devs have done, and we'll put on sort of like events like this. Um, that I know a few people that I met at Adventure X in London have already done it. The people who did Crowns and Pawns have an event on Saturday. Inspector Waffles had a dev stream today, I think earlier in the day. And yeah, it's just an opportunity for people to take a look at the game and check out a stream, um, and get some commentary, questions and answers. I don't know. I hope I answered questions. If you guys have any questions, just right now that I haven't addressed, please just ask them in chat, and I will answer them as best I can. But yeah, that's what it is. It's just a great little. It's a way for us to promote. It's a way for people to discover new games that they haven't seen before. Which is, it's great that games are so much easier to make, but it's also not that great because it's so much harder to find new games because there's just so many. So this is one of those ways to try to help people find our games. And I'm so glad to see a few new people on this. This is wonderful. Longshot wants to know if I'm planning on having multiple endings. I'm probably gonna have multiple endings, but in the way that like Lorabo 2 and Colonel's Bequest had multiple endings, where there'll be one or two there'll be two maybe major endings, and then there'll be like epilogues that will tell you what happened with the other people depending on how you did in the game, that type of thing. Moral Recordings is excited by the prospect of Nancy being unleashed on the countryside to dig up all the minerals. I will say, Moral Recordings, that the next one of the chapters of the actual game, you actually do get to get some samples and stuff. Very basic mineralogy stuff. So you have that to look forward to. But Twitch, I'm _Maple Mystery. If you scroll back up to the links, you'll see that. I've been streaming weekly, me and Dan. So if you want to learn more about the game, you have any questions, if you think of questions later on that you forgot to ask here, you can ask me on Twitter at my handle there, and or just come to a stream, come hang out, chill. It's just really fun to see you guys. And that's it. I'm gonna call it. And this was a bonus stream, so this is like above beyond this usual stream schedule. But this whole Steam Game Fest has been really cool, and it's been a good way to see new people. So thank you, new people, and thank you, people who are regulars. You guys are both awesome and super motivating. But I'm going to sign off, and yeah, please follow me on Twitter. That's where you'll probably get news the best and all that. And yeah, but thank you so much. This was really awesome, and I'm glad I actually got to do this because I actually hadn't played through my own demo with commentary before, so it was fun to get to do that. All right, have a good night, guys.